What's going on, everybody, man? This is the Godly Vibe Podcast. It's your boy HBDs, and man, I got with me Coach Loss. What's going on, Coach?
Ain't too much, man. Ain't too
Man,
much.
before we start, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you coming on, and we're gonna talk about a few things. And for those that don't know, man, Coach is the head basketball coach at the high school. Met Coach, want to say about 2 years ago.
Yeah, about 2 years.
2 years ago, and it's been a hell of a ride. Coach has always showed me love when I'm on there, and I want to say before we really get into it, man, just from me being from afar, the love that I see he have for his players, not just on the court but off the court, and I just be taken aback because I know it's a lot.
Yeah, most definitely.
I know it's a lot, man. But before we start, how's the season going so far?
It's going good, man. We we got all our guys back from football, and then we started working. A lot of promise this season, man. With the type of summer we had, jumped out in an aggressive schedule. We 3A school, but a schedule is kind of like a mid 4A.
Oh, so y'all
4A schedule. So and it's just to get them tested, because I tell people all the time, I don't like the basketball part. I don't do it for wins and losses. I do it for the championships.
Mm-hmm.
So if we gonna compete for a championship, we have to play teams that's gonna get us ready for the championship.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so we done ran into a couple of stumbling blocks where we done lost a couple starters, and it is what it is, man.
The grind.
We're gonna just keep pushing that ball up the hill, though, man. No change to the goal.
I like that. And I asked about the basketball because I remember just talking to you, and I think what drew me to wanting to have more conversations with you is we started talking about God. Like everything that you do, you put God in it.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I want to talk to him. I want to get to know this person beyond just basketball, because I'm a very big spiritual person.
Right.
And how do you balance dealing with being a coach and you know that you're a man of God?
So let's start here. Here. I think the thing that makes these kids want to play so hard for me is because of who I am to them. Right? But I'm not able to be who I am to them until I actually know how to love myself that way.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, once upon a time, like coming straight, I left. Let's start here.
You know what? Let's do this before you pivot to that, Coach.
Okay.
I want people to know who you are.
Right.
So, and I'm glad you said that, because I was just thinking, I was like, let me go back real quick so people can know Coach's story.
Okay.
So I'm gonna step aside, give you the flow, and let them tell about yourself.
Okay. It ain't much to me, man. I born in Lake Charles. My mom raised us, by herself, me and my younger brother. But I have a family who was tight knit, man. Like family reunions, you talking about everybody coming. We that family that 20 of us in one house.
Y'all.
So I never had a want for having friends. We always had each other as family. Played sports. And sports kind of kept me rooted and grounded. It really showed me in reality who I am.
Gotcha.
Was able to do that to a certain point. And then how I kind of fell into coaching is when sports was all done, I ain't have nothing left for sports. I was fortunate enough to start off like getting like this little GA job at Grambling.
Okay.
And then it turned into a grad assistant job at Louisiana Tech, and then that's when I kind of caught the bug,
To want to coach.
Left Louisiana Tech and went to LaGrange with my first coaching assignment as a assistant coach. Funny part about it, man, I was a football guy. I was a football guy. It just my cousin, man, he hit me up one day, and it was like, he drew me to coming and helping him, and it's like, man, ideally it was like, well, I want to coach football and basketball. If I'm gonna do basketball, but I do want to still be a part of football. And it's like I got to doing basketball and caught the bug, and it was like, man, I'm not going back. Climate control will change a lot of things, man. You know, I don't got to worry about rain. I ain't got to worry about the cold or the heat. They got a thermostat for that.
Good.
So, you know, and that's how I kind of got into that avenue of basketball, you know, and it's just so happened that God put me around some really great guys that molded me in basketball to where I could actually grow, even though that wasn't my main thing, you know. And Lord knows, like, some of the people who I've been attached to, man, I don't even know how I got attached to them.
God did.
They've been a blessing to me. You know, they've been a blessing to me. Even, you know, I can go, it's Coach Charles Smith at Peabody, man. Me and this guy talk on the phone on the regular, and some of the things that he, you know, impart on my wisdom, it's like I can never repay that man for what he's, you know, been able to give me. Coach Sigler at Silsby High School in Texas. And then I have there was some younger guys who I talk to on the regular who sometimes look up to me for advice, but they don't really realize how much they actually be
helping you.
Me. Right, you know, so that, you know, it's in God's infinite wisdom, man, and his you know, his assurity that if he puts you in a place, then you're there for a reason, you know, and you just gotta be faithful to that task that he's giving you, you know, and you know, I feel like as long as we stay faithful to whatever it is that he's giving us, he's gonna always bless it in multitudes, you know, even making things look better than what you on the inside feel that it is. You might not feel like it is what it is, but the people on the outside watching God work in your life makes it that, you know, it looks so much more. And it's like, in my mind, it's like, man, I don't think we scratched the surface yet, you know, but that's just who he is, man. That's just who he is.
That's true, man. So how did you end up in Jennings?
How did I end up in Jennings? And by the way, first and foremost, man, I love Jennings, man. I love this place, man. This place has shown me so much, so much just tight-knit community, man. And you know, I've been able to grow as a person, as a coach, and these kids keep me on my toes. And it really changed me even more than what I was before I got here. Yes. But I was at LaGrange, man. High school coach at LaGrange. Just kind of knew it was approaching that time that, you know, maybe I could try to spread my wings and become a head coach.
Basically, get your own program.
Get my own program up and running. And at the time, I really didn't even know if I was ready, to be honest with you. I didn't even know if I was ready in the moment. Got word that that opportunity was there, it was available. And I applied, man, and didn't even know if I was going to get it or not. You know, didn't even know if I was going to get it or not. And I can honestly say, in that moment, like, I just started kind of like tapping into God, you know, and honestly, I had started changing in ways that I didn't even realize it.
At that time.
Right, because like, I was really more of a shy, standoffish person. I didn't say too much. I was more like about my actions. I'm going to lead with my actions. I'm going to show everything with my actions. But around like probably like the later years of LaGrange, I started speaking more, talking more, and then I started realizing I actually had a voice. You know, and it did wonders for me in my interview, I believe, because I really was more of like, you know, you can ask anybody, when me growing up, I was more quiet than I was.
You like, that's how I was.
Like this vocal leader, you know, so.
I know exactly where you're coming from, because that's how I was. And then up until like a couple years ago, God just say, like, I want to make you uncomfortable.
Right.
So I kind of like wanted to start doing the podcast and stuff like that, because I'm like, that's the only way I'm going to get out there, shit. Because I'm like you, I just be want to come do what I got to do, and then I'm going to just get out the way. That's why we was talking earlier. I'm like, I don't never know nothing that's going on, because I pretty much just stay out the way.
Right. And sometimes that's the best way. Sometimes it's the best way.
It is, man. But like me, I'm from Jennings, born and raised. I graduated from Leesville. That's why I graduated from. But, you know, just I had always been around basketball and stuff like this. So to see where it was to where it's at now, and I see the love that, I see the way those kids gravitate to you, and they love you because they know, like, Coach really beyond basketball.
Right.
You know, and I remember when I was up there taking pictures and we was talking and stuff, and I can just hear in your voice, like, I love these kids beyond just them playing for me.
Right.
And so many times you don't necessarily get that from a lot of coaches. Like, man, once you out the program, this, especially high school,
Right.
especially like if you're not a star or something like that. But I watch how you care for every single one of them. If they need that conversation, just boost. Like if they feel like they ain't playing enough, like you sit and you talk to them.
Right.
And I'm a type of person, I'll just sit back and just be watching. I don't never say nothing. I just be watching.
Yeah.
And like I can feel, like I tell people, I can tell if you're a good person. I can tell what I can genuinely feel like you coach like really love all his players, man, and I love to see it. And I can tell when they playing and stuff like that, like they really can, like you really love them,
Right.
like they really love you, and it's just different, man. I love to see it, and especially I've always known how Jenny's program was.
Right. I hear that a lot.
Listen, it like getting you honestly was a blessing for them. Because
Thank
you have changed the program from what it was, because it was football, softball, and girls basketball. Like really and truly, boys basketball, I felt like was at the bottom. Like it was. Now I'm looking, I say, man, they got jerseys, they got. Man, I wish that was here when I was, because I left when I was a freshman.
Yeah.
But I'm like, when I would come, it was like kind of like an afterthought, like old basketball, like. I look in the crowd now, I'm like, people coming in.
Right.
Like it was for a while, it wasn't like that. Like once the girls play, people start heading out.
Yeah.
So to see the change and the passion and the love, man, it's beautiful, man.
I appreciate that, man.
They don't need to lose
I
you, man. Like
appreciate
real
it.
talk, like they don't need to lose you.
I tell them kids all the time, man, I'm gonna be here when your kids get here. And so you can do it my way, or you can do it. You can try to do it your way, but you gonna exit out this door before I will. I'll be here when your kids get here.
Yeah,
So,
man, I love it.
We're not going nowhere, man. We're gonna try to build this thing up to the best of our ability. But man, to man, first off, man, appreciate you, because I'm gonna tell you like this, and I just being honest. Sometimes, man, we don't see ourselves the way other people see us, and like
That's
I
true.
said, that's all in God's doing. Because, like I tell my boys all the time, man, if you for what y'all feel I am, I don't feel
You don't
I
see
am.
it.
I don't feel I am, and that's just the weakness in the flesh, That's the flesh that makes us feel that we're not worthy of the things that we accomplish.
Right.
And so it makes it easy for me to pour into them, because I know what they dealing with. I done been in those shoes before, and it's so funny, like when I watch them go through their trial and errors, it's like God brings me right back to me being in those same situations. And it's like, man, it's nothing that they've done or nothing that they've been through that I haven't been through.
Yes.
And it be poor on me to not make them, first and foremost, make them understand that, hey, where you've been, I've been.
Yes.
So like, and the biggest thing, I think that's the biggest flaw of the elders. I don't know.
Yeah,
if I'm
you saying
the
it right.
way,
There's
but,
the elders.
We try to paint these pictures to these kids that we were so perfect when we was their age, and we didn't make those same mistakes.
And
but in reality, we did them,
did.
and we did them 10 times sometimes.
Yeah.
The only thing that saved us is the grace of God, and that we didn't have social media. That we didn't have social media at that time. Because if we would have, then Coach Large probably would have looked like a clown back then. So
Yeah.
it just, the thing is sometimes we didn't have those type of father figures in our lives. And I think that's what I always, when I decided I wanted to get into coaching, I really wanted to actually be that person that I didn't have. I didn't always have somebody telling me right from wrong. Crazy part about it is we had more people influencing us to do the wrong thing.
Yes.
Like they was trying to tell you, like the closer I got to God, then I started realizing like almost everything I thought as a child was flawed.
Yeah.
And it's like I thought in the moment, I thought all of these things that I was doing was the right way because my community was doing it that way. The older guys who would allow you to hang around, they would let they big you up for doing some of this stupid stuff. And then it's like now that I'm grown and I'm rooted in God, it's like, man, I was messed up, man.
And like they always
I was messed up.
And like they say, like we was just a product of our environment.
Yeah.
And one thing that if I could tell y'all, your players and just a bunch of people, man, when you got a good coach, a coach that truly cares. Like when I was playing basketball, I had he wasn't no good coach.
Right.
He was a coach where he was just coaching us, but it was no love. It was no nothing. It was just like, I'm here to coach, and that's really it.
Right.
You know, so when I see things like that, I'm like, they're not going to, I pray that most of them understand it now,
Yeah.
but eventually they'll look back and be like, man, I had a hell of a coach.
Most definitely. And it, like, you know, so I understand. That's why I don't allow myself to get mad with these kids and their shortcomings. Because I understand that everything in life, you're going to learn lessons from it. So maybe they don't hear me today.
But eventually,
But eventually in time, everything that I've told them when they run into certain situations, that little voice in the back of their head, that the things I done told them in the locker room, or, you know, just because I talk to them more about life than I talk about basketball, you know. So the thing about it is at some point in their lives, they'll run into situations where it's boom. And because I have players, and, you know, the past players who always come back, you know, and I the relationships that I build with these kids, they don't stop after they done playing.
and see, that's what, and that's what I love. That's
a lot
what
of my former players, man, they still call me to this day. If I can, man, I pick them up and, man, you sit down and talk with them. Just the other day, me and Zenaria Stretch, you know, hey, what you doing, man? I ain't doing that. Come to church with me. And after church, we go to Golden Corral and eat, you know, just talk about life, me, him, and my family. And, you know, Chance, one of my guys, you know, calls me on a regular. You know, calls me on a regular. And, you know, I keep those line of communications open with those kids, because you never know when they gonna need somebody just to steer them right back in the right direction, because they contemplate doing the wrong thing.
And that's what you know, and I never thought about it that way, I guess, until I went to the school and started taking pictures and realized, like, it's deeper than just what y'all see on the sideline.
Right.
And I think for a lot of people, a lot of parents, they don't understand. Just a lot of people that just see, you're not just a coach.
No, man. Hey, if they really had to pay me for what I am, then I'd be rich right now, man. 'Cause I was just talking to this, like, so, you know, coach, we all call each other. And that's like our biggest gripe. Every coach's biggest gripe is like, they treat you as if it's like your job is just about going out there and winning basketball games or football games, whatever it is. But, man, I must be a psychologist. Because I feel like Dr. Phil on some days. I feel like a referee sometimes because I'm breaking up these battles. I feel like the second father because I gotta impart that wisdom or be something for them that, you know, they missing at home. I'm the taxi driver because they need rides. Man, that list go, man. It's like a scroll. It just keep on rolling. It's like it doesn't stop at X's and O's. I tell that to people all the time. If this game was
It was just
if it was about just X's and O's,
that's it.
Oh, man, I'd be a 30-time straight champion because I could X and O with the best of them. But it's not about that. You know, it's one of my really good friends, Coach Verdin. You know, me and her got to impart wisdom on each other all the time. You know, and I try to tell her all the time, like, man, if it was solely about just basketball, man, with the wisdom that we have, man, you know, the winning would be the easy part. But the problem is you're not dealing with adults that, you know, they doing this for profession. You're dealing with kids who don't have some of the best things at home, or they life not set up for, you know, just coming to school and doing it the right way every time, you know. So so you have to take that into accountability when you're dealing with these kids, because emotionally, some of them, you know, I think the biggest thing with this generation of kids is if they don't feel good about themselves, they can't perform. That is like, you know, and it is staggering to me because I come from a generation where they taught you to mask your feelings.
Yeah, leave it at the door when
leave it at the door. It's two bags. You put that bag down and you pick your bag up. You know, and you handle your business and do what you got to do. But when you walk out the door, you put that one down and you pick this one up and you deal back with your life. And they kind of taught us to compartmentalize like that. Whereas these kids, they so emotional. You cannot lead with, hey, let's just go take care of the game and then we'll fix that later.
They not finna.
Because now they feel like
you don't care.
You don't care about me. Like I got all this going on in my life. And to me, sometimes some of the things that they be complaining about is like, Lord have mercy. I wish I had them kind of problems when I was a kid. Like that's your problem. Okay, you can't dust that off and keep going. But like you can't treat them like that because they, you know, they really want to know who really care about me in my time of need. You know, who really cares about me? And if you can't give me what I need in my time of need, then when you need me,
I
I can't
am.
be there for you. You know, and so like the thing is, to me, is like Jennings kids. Those kids are so passionate about who they love.
Yes.
You know, and so I'll tell you this, the first thing I identified when I got to Jennings, everybody was telling me so much stuff about how these kids are, man, they in the streets and they don't care about things that, you know, that's of importance and this, that, and the third. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first got here, I bought into that for just a small second. You know, because you watch them. You know, if you just take a milk crate and go sit out at Caps on Main Street and just watch them move on the day-to-day, you would think you would buy into that.
Yeah,
These
you
kids
would.
don't care and that they. But what I identified is this, man. After being here long enough, it's nothing for these kids to do here.
I was just about to. Yeah,
It's nothing for these kids to do here. And the thing about it is, how long can you stay out of trouble with nothing to do from 4 to 14 years old? How long can you do that?
Exactly.
And the thing about it is, one thing that the guys who already then went through life, and we gonna say messed their life up, but like they on the wrong track, what they identify as the love inside of those kids. So if I take this kid out of Jennings and I go bring him around a couple places and I show him love and I show him compassion and I show him everything that he looking for, whatever I need him to do, he'll do it.
He would.
Even if it's risking his own life,
If
even if it's putting his own family to the side and,
Yep.
and causing so much pain and grief in their life, they'll do it. And that's the first thing I identified. So I did that in reverse. Is, all right, well, I'm going to show you so much love and I'm going to show you so much just patience. Like, some of these kids probably think I'm crazy because it's like, I'm gonna test his love every day and see how much he care about me. And the fact that I won't throw him away is the thing I think that really bothers them. Like, well, not bother them, but like makes them
throws
like,
them off a little bit.
It knocked their gate off. Like, why he won't give up on me?
Yes.
And so it's like, once I realized that I could make them play hard, because what I learned is the minute they love you, whatever you need from them,
they're going to run through a brick wall.
Hey, man, look, I need you to go in this class and knock out this A for me, man. And you know, and I'm gonna be here for you, but I need you to do this for me. And then it's like bells rung off in their head, like, coach need me. All right, it's time to turn it on. And that's just how they do. So it's like everywhere we go, man. We the smallest team in the gym.
But y'all play the hardest.
But we always play the hardest. And people think it's like some type of magic formula that we doing at practice. And I'm here to tell anybody, man, our practices suck most times, man. Because it's like, man, I want y'all to do this so hard and go the right way. And it's like they just don't buy into that most of the time. But when I get passionate, especially in the games, you ever watch me in the games? Like, man, I don't sit down and I'm passionate. And whenever I call these timeouts and I pour into them, hey, man, look, we not giving it what we, and it's like that light just flash off every time, especially in crunch time. It's almost like they like playing games that's gonna give me a heart attack. It's because, man, this game too easy. We gonna make it hard because we want to see Coach Lars catch a stroke out here on the floor. So, you know, but they in crunch time, man, they will go through a brick wall or whatever it takes to make it happen. And sometimes we fall short of it, but they always let me know that, man, we care about you the same way you care about us.
And they giving they all.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, man. Like, those kids, these kids, they don't have nothing outside of school.
Right.
And so many times I would tell my parents that and stuff like that. I was like, man, I just wish one day that God would put me in a situation where I can give them something to do.
Right.
I say you can talk to those kids all day, but if you don't put nothing in their hands of, giving them something to do, it doesn't matter.
Idle mind is a devil's workshop.
And man, they got some really, really good kids.
Yeah, these kids
are amazing,
phenomenal,
man.
I tell people that all the time. Like, Jennings has this stigma about so much negativity, but like the longer I've been here, man, it's like, man, I would deal with these kids any day versus some of the stuff that I see going on in Lake Charles. You know, I still live in Lake Charles.
Oh, okay.
I
So
commute back and forth to Jennings.
so you know what's going on.
Oh man, it's you know it's people don't realize that, man. But because Lake Charles is not no big city, but it's so dangerous out there, especially with these kids, man. Like they reckless at times, and they fear nothing. You know what I'm saying? They fear nothing, but you come here and it's like these kids, at least some of the morals and standards,
It's still
it's
there.
still there. Like you can tell a parent is at home, like begging and pleading with them not to be doing what they doing. But you know, these kids, they're gonna go out and they're gonna experience life. Cause the thing about it is, you don't learn from what people tell you. I just, I done came to the realization of that.
Some of
I
them,
did it.
They got to bump their head just a little bit.
Right. And so the thing is some of us, we bump it just enough and it's like, oh, that was
It
enough.
click.
I'm good. But then some of us, like, they like to go bang their head real hard. And the thing is, you could, even whoever, you pick the kid, and, hey, he the hardest one, he the worst one. And I promise you, if you approach them kids in love,
Yes,
they soften their heart to at least hear you. They might not do what you say,
but they hear you.
but they hear you.
And the crazy part about what you just said is, if you talk to someone, like you said, the hardest one, they still, yes, sir.
Yes,
no,
sir. No, sir.
So
Yeah.
that lets you know they just need, it's something that they
It's
missing.
It's something that's missing. All right, so the things that I identify sometimes, first thing first is, just catching them early and giving them something to understand that it's something more than outside of here. Like, I mean, I can never forget this. The first time I took some of those kids to like an AAU deal in Houston.
Blew their mind up.
Man, look, I bought a big old, I don't even know what you call those trucks. It's like a van truck.
I know what you're
type
talking, like a
van. It's
Sprinter?
Sprinter, exactly. With the TVs and stuff
Oh,
in
you
it.
blew their mind up.
And it's like you would swear they was like the New Orleans Pelicans when they was getting in this thing. And then we pulled up and it's like we pulling into Houston, man. Houston, somewhere like my children take for granted going like,
Yeah,
man, we in the H and all this stuff like this. And it's like, I'm sitting in the, I'm driving and I'm like,
hearing them talk.
some of these kids never really been to Houston. And it's, and so like some of them, they like, they never gonna forget that. And that meant a lot to them. We went out there, we out there with a goal, and for some of them, it was just like, man, I'm just happy just to be here. I'm just happy to be in this gym. I never seen a court like that. We walking. This is a mid-scale court. Like, I want to say it had like 6 courts on it.
Oh, so they ain't
And they
never
like,
seen.
golly, they got all these courts on this floor. And, I think about like my daughter all the time who then she had a chance to see a lot of things that I didn't even get to experience as a kid. Like, we done been to tournaments where you got 220-something courts under one roof.
So
they
she-
rented out a whole Civic Center complex. And, you walking in, I'm like, oh my God, like how did you even get this many courts in one place?
Man.
And it's like, we take for granted what some of these kids go through. And it's hard to see, if you don't ever fall in love with the job of being a part of these kids' lives, then it makes it hard to understand why you want to go above and beyond to save them. Like, if they just become a part of the job, then yeah, it's easy to show up every day, get a paycheck, and go home. But when you actually become a part of their lives and realize, like, hey, man, that kid, it's like a cliche that I always used to hear when I first started teaching. You are their best hope on your worst day.
That's a fact.
And
Yeah.
it's like, once I kind of like started coaching, I started realizing that, some of these kids, like, just the little talks that I give them, that's probably the only positive talk they're gonna get.
Yeah.
So that kind of like, that's kind of humbling to me.
And for a lot of them, like, that's their peace.
Right.
Because, man, they go home and cursing and foolishness and, things in that nature, and that's their peace. With, like, you their peace.
Right.
And that's a big blessing, man, for a lot of them. And I can tell you just from being here, like, they had a stigma of they'll play ball and quit. Like,
Yeah.
because there was no love.
I noticed.
It was no, cause so
Right.
I ain't lying. Like, I remember that, man, like, people would just, I quit.
Yeah.
coach don't care about me. It's no like, and that was it. It's no, man, come talk to him to really play. Like, beyond just basketball.
Yeah.
You know, and for a lot, like I said, for a lot of kids, if you just show them you love them beyond this, they'll run through the wall for you.
Right.
So for a long time, that's how it was with, especially basketball. I don't know too much about football, but basketball, that's how it was. It was
Right. Football heritage here is
yeah. So football
is
was
amazing,
football was
man.
good. Football
Yeah.
was good, and that's why I say it's so amazing to see basketball starting to
grow.
pick up, and they starting to do more. And I'm like, man, because I'm big baskasball,
Right.
and I love to see it. I'm like, this is what's been needed. Because we had some athletes, man, and I
Man,
feel like,
I know. Trust
you know,
me, I know.
Dennis had some bars that like really could have really put basketball on the map if we'd have had that coach,
Yeah.
and it would have been totally different, man. So I love it, man. I love to see just even like I say when I see y'all at the like when y'all be practicing, and then you just be talking to them and you be telling like when y'all was having the conversation about y'all was the leader conversation when I was there taking the pictures after practice,
Yeah.
and you was talking about identifying the leader
Right.
or who is the leader, and I'm like, that make a lot of sense.
Right.
Just get that one, and the rest gonna
The one's
follow.
gonna follow. And that's that's why I try to make them understand. Like, I can be the leader all day
Mm-hmm.
long, but it's gonna take one of y'all to step up and show the rest, hey man, we can do it this way and follow. And then the minute one see it safe
That's
to
it.
follow, then the rest just gonna jump in line. And I think, once we can break that barrier of
y'all.
making it okay to walk the straight and narrow, it's kind of like one of the kids, like one of my guys, man. I've been on his behind a lot, and I always paint this picture for him that in life we got two paths. It's two paths only.
That's
You
it.
got that path that's broad that everybody want to get on because it seems so easy, but then you got that narrow path
That-
nobody ever want to walk. And the
Uh-huh.
thing about that path is, it's not hard.
It's
Not in
just
the
some work.
sense of
It's just some work.
right. Not in the sense of is life altering. What makes that path so hard is sometimes it's lonely.
Fact. That's-
Sometimes it don't come with clout.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you doing work that nobody sees.
Yeah.
And that's the path. So it's like, it's the I can't think of the Bible verse right off the top of my head, but it's the narrow path that God tells everybody to take.
I know what you're talking about, the verse you're
but
talking about.
we all want to get on this broad path where it looks so glamorous, but I just feel though that that's the devil painting this picture to your illusion. It's illusions. What I what I kind of explain to the kids is it looks like it's the right way to go,
but it's not.
But in reality, that path right there leads to nowhere.
Yes.
It goes nowhere. The good thing about that path though, it's got an exit, but you be going so fast on it, you miss that path. You miss the exit every time.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get off. And so the thing about it is, man, once these kids really can understand that in life, if I want to really achieve my goals, I really gotta sacrifice things. And the thing I gotta sacrifice the most is time. Like I don't think grown-ups understand that the most valuable thing in this world is not money, it's not cars, it's not clothes. Like them kids mess with me all the time. It's like, why you still drive that Honda? Cause we know you got money. It's like, I don't have no money, boy. I don't know what you're talking about. But I drive that Honda because I put the key in the ignition and it starts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to go put another burden on my life of going get something I can't afford just to impress somebody else.
Fact. Yeah.
But the thing I can't ever get back in life is time.
That time.
I can't get back time from my kids. I can't get back time with my wife. I can't get back time that that I done messed up and just want to go back and say, I just want a chance to do that over again.
Man, that time part is deep.
Yeah.
That time part is deep, and I say that because I think just like that, and I tell people so many times, like the people that I really try to have conversations with, I say, man, that's one thing I'm realizing. I could always go make money.
Yeah.
I could always go do certain things, but I say I can't get that. I can't get that time back. And I say after focusing some time and be like, you know what, I'm gonna just work so hard and go buy this.
Right.
And then I went by it, and then now I'm moving on to the next thing without even enjoying the thing. It took me a whole year to buy. And then I started thinking, man, after I started accumulating so much, I'm like, I can't get time back.
You can't get it back, man.
And
you can lose money. You can lose money and get that back.
That time?
You can't get time back. Like you know, everybody aspire to be a millionaire, but once you become a millionaire, then what?
Then you looking back at all, and then you looking back and be like, man, all this time I wasted to get here, and then I got it. Am I truly happy? Right. And man, and once I started doing it, I'm like, now I gotta change it. I gotta start doing stuff that gives me some fulfillment in life. Right. Cause I was in this man group at my church. Yeah, it's called Manhood.
That's like one of my favorite things now, man. And it's crazy. You see? It's crazy how like, and I'm sorry, I ain't cut you off, but it's like when you said that just resonate with me because like I look forward to Saturday mornings, going to meet with the guys and talking about the word, man. It's like once upon a time, my favorite thing was all things of this world, nothing about God. And it's like today's me, man. Like I'm so like I tell my wife that all the time. Like I don't ride with the radio on. Because I can spend hours talking to God.
See, I do the same thing. My wife always do. She's like, we in there talking to you? I'm talking to God.
Talking to God, man.
He might not talk back to me, but I know he hear me. God is my therapist. I say God keeps me sane. Yeah. You know, and I sit in there like I just be in there talking. God,
I tell you what, though, he talk back, man. He talk back through the evidence.
Facts.
Evidence of our lives. You know? So it's like, and man, and look, I'm gonna tell you, I just realized it. Like, I used to feel like everybody else, like, man, I'm looking for this sign that God is moving or He's hearing me at least. Just hear me, God. And then it just reality struck me. Man, look at the evidence of your life. The evidence of your life proves that He hears you, man. Like just 4 years ago, I was on my knees crying out to God, man. Hey, God, just give me a program. I'm going to be faithful to it, this, that, and the third. And look at me now, man. I'm a head basketball coach. And it's like I got kids that love me. I got a community that loves me. I got everything that I asked Him for. The evidence is there.
It's right there.
Asked Him for a wife, you know, when I was single. He gave me one. Asked Him for, you know, it's crazy because when I was like going through certain things in my life, He gave me my wife at the right time. Like me and my wife was friends, like really good friends. Like we went to homecoming. Prom. We went to prom together, and it was just like taking my partner, almost. You know, and it didn't dawn. I don't know what it was for her. It's crazy part. I've never even asked her that, but it's like it didn't dawn on me that in that moment, that was gonna be my soulmate. Like that was gonna be the person that was gonna pull me out of my worst moment of my life and turn me like That's why I know that when God says, He gave us a helpmate to better us, to multiply. When I look at the evidence of asking God for a wife, being faithful to that woman, and then looking at how much my life has multiplied since I've become one with her. And that's crazy, man. It's crazy when I even sitting here thinking about it right now. It's like, I didn't do none of this on my own.
God
did it, and it's like He gave me every little thing I needed to put me on that narrow path.
And now that you said about wife, man, I always would tell my cousin and stuff, I'm like, y'all don't understand how being a husband, it's like a badge of honor.
Oh,
like when I could talk to people and I'd be like, I could tell them, man, me and my wife been together for like 18, 19 years. Yeah. And I said, man, I said just something about, it's like a special feeling you can't describe. I'm like,
describe it.
Man, y'all don't understand what y'all missing. I ain't sitting there saying just go marry anybody, but when you can find that one and it's the one,
when God designed that for you, man, and that's the thing. I think if I would have gotten God's way, I probably wouldn't even be what I am right now. Because it's a part of me becoming what I became is me actually humbling myself and allowing Him to do what He needed to do.
That acceptance,
and it's like first thing first. He put me. He isolated me. Like I was going through some things. He isolated me, and then for some odd reason, me and her, drew back into communication. Like, and we talking on the phone all the time. And then like she don't even know this, but like, you know, I'm about to head home to go down to the Bayou Classic. But instead, I just decide
To go.
I'm gonna take a beeline to Lake Charles. I found out she was in Lake Charles coming home from Alabama. She was in Alabama running track.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
and so she was at home, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna make a beeline there just before I head to Bayou Classic.
There you go.
And that fired it off right there. And it's like little bit by little bit, man, I just seen her changing me in my life and in my walk. Like I'll never forget this. Like we started dating and it's like one day she called me and I messed up at school and so now I don't even really know which way to go. And she don't know this. My parents don't know this. Nobody know this. But instead of going to class, now I got back in school and instead of going to class for some odd reason, I'm going to intramural every day. Shooting basketball. And then like she said something to me, like she heard, like I guess it's too many days in a row where she just hearing the basketball in the background and not enough studying or something. But she told me, she said, what are you trying to do, man? Like you trying to be an intramural basketball hero, or you trying to get your degree and do something with yourself? Because from what it looked like, you just wasting your time.
That real.
And like that right there is like made me like really look at it like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? You know, and it's like, all right, let me get this back on track. And it's crazy, like, I don't even think, like, after that I ever even made a B again.
You would just own it.
I just own it. Like, I made, you know, she made me make a look, take an assessment of my life, and like, what are you doing?
Man.
Like, that's you don't want to go back home and be embarrassment. So it's like, what are you doing? Let's can we fix it? You know what I'm saying? Can I go in and right this wrong? Can I fix it? And then I started doing the work, and then, you know, at the end of that semester, I might have came out A, B, C, something like that. And then after that, man, I don't think I ever made another B again, even for my master's degree.
See what I'm saying? Man, I can just hear you in your voice, like the love you have for the, you know, the affection you have for, man. And I tell people that all the time, and I love to tell people things, man. I'm like, when you find that one,
Yeah.
it's like your peace.
Right.
I tell people, I say, man,
And
that's
your headache.
yeah, like both. Yeah, you ain't lying about that. And I tell people, I say, man, I love my peace.
Yeah.
I say, you know, to be a faithful husband, to be a trustworthy husband, man, that's something money can't buy. I'm like, man, I can just get up, take care of my kids, see if she need anything, just do what I want to do, and I'm like, I had that peace of mind.
Right. And yeah, exactly, man. And you're right. You hit the nail on the head, man. It's like she helps take away a lot of the uncertainties.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, and that's how I know that, you know, God
Put her
handled
there.
us together. You know, my wife, and my mom always jokes about that. She always say, you know, I prayed her into our lives, like, cause she used to tell my wife that when we was in high school, I don't know which one of my sons you gonna date, but you gonna date one of my sons. And at this time, like I told you, she's my friend,
So
so
you
in my
wouldn't
mind,
even-
it must be Justin. You know what I'm saying? So it is like I always, like, this. So I will say, I always had a crush on her since like the day I seen her. Like, 'cause she
Oh, really?
yeah, she was beautiful, man. Like, beautiful. I used to have this thing for Alicia Keys.
Oh,
and to me,
so she
she
gave
looked like
the
Alicia
vibe.
Keys. So it was like, man, I really like her, but she had this mystique about her, like almost as if, you know, she was too serious for me. I was.
Oh, you was
silly.
a jokester?
Yeah, I was
Oh.
silly. So I never really seen us being serious because I always thought I was just out of her league type.
Oh,
She
okay.
was always real serious. Always seemed to be real focused. You know, when we was kids. But that's like, that goes back to say, when God paints a picture to others of who you are, then you may not even see yourself the way others see you. Because me saying this right now, she probably like, boy, stop it. You just pouring it on thick. But that's really what I thought of her when we was in school. It wasn't till we started like talking on the phone on a regular and I'm going through something and she don't even realize she's pulling me out of that something that I started realizing, man, she's just as vulnerable as I am.
Yes.
You know, she just is in need of me as I am of her.
Man, and I think like women sometimes don't realize how we see them like that. Like I remember when I seen my wife, man, we was at church, and I just happened to turn around. I say, "Who is this?" And at the time, one of my cousins, I was staying in Leesville at the time, but we would always talk on the phone. I say, "Man, you got to find out who this person is for me." Now I'm like 4 years older than my wife. So at the time I was out of school. She was going to be a senior.
Okay.
So I was like, at first, he was like, such and such, told me my name, whatever. And then after a while, I didn't know. So I'm thinking, I said, oh, she got to be out of school. But come to find out, she just one of them smart people that well, for me, I ended up getting held back a year.
Yeah.
She just went on follow through. But I was like, well, you know what? Never mind. I don't really know if because I know how my mama is.
Right.
Boy, you ain't finna talk to nobody in high school.
Right.
My mama don't play.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? Never mind. Man, we ended up going to Popeyes one day. My cousin coming there talking crazy. You gonna give him the number, and he just cussing and doing the food, making me shame. I got my food and I walked out. So look, she gave me the wrong phone number. So I called it. I don't know if she gave me the bank phone number or something. Man, I had it on speakerphone because I thought we about to talk.
Yeah.
She gave me. I said, oh. So they all in there clowning me, joking, and she gave the wrong number. And I don't even know how I ended up meeting her one day, whatever. And we ended up just talking or whatever. But in my mind, I was like, I don't know. You in high school? My mama ain't finna.
Yeah.
But it just happened the way it happened, and almost 20 years later, we here now.
Right.
You know, and like you say, what God got for you
Yeah.
is for you, even if sometimes we don't see it at that particular time.
Right.
You know, and I just think about all the time that she had to pull me out, self-doubt and just dealing with, so you know, because we don't see ourselves the way they see.
Right.
And I'm like, God, I just thank you for just knowing, me being so young at that time, just not knowing, but, you know, that's your wife at the end of the day, and sticking to it. Because like I tell people, man, even when I was just living in sin, and God was always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
You know,
I think. All right. So, it talks about how he tattoos the word on your heart.
Yes.
So even if you don't know him, we all got that moral compass in us that make us second guess when we doing the wrong thing, right? And it's nobody who live in sin and like they just be feeling good about it. You know, you kind of just with it. I think just my personal opinion, what ends up happening is you buy into the character, or what I like to call it is like the residue.
I like that. Yeah, I like it.
It's like I've been known for being it so long
that
I'm just cool with being it. And you get to fighting yourself, man. That's just who I am. That's just what I am. No, that's not what you is, because that's not who God designed you to be.
Yeah.
And the more you fight God, that's the first thing I learned, man, when I was trying to get right with God was the more you fight him, the more you hurt. Like these trials that we gotta go through in life, you gotta go through them. It ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it, because the Bible say, and when you meet trials, then you know. So that's letting you know when he say when, that means it's coming. It's not something that you gotta second guess. It's coming. And,
it's coming.
The one thing I learned about God is my mama might say things that she don't mean. My wife might say things and don't mean it. I may say things and don't mean it. But God's word, he says what he means. He means what he says.
Yes, I definitely agree. And that's why I do the things I do, because I'm like, God, from what you brought me from always just, man, because I had a situation where I could have went either way. And man,
we all I could have been a lot of things.
And I remember sitting down one night talking to God, and I was like, God, because I was in Texas, I said, God, when I leave Texas, when I come back, I'm leaving everything where it's at, and I'm just giving you everything. And when I got back, man, I just totally changed my life. I started removing a whole bunch of things out of my life that I knew was going to pull me.
Right.
And I tell people, I say, I had nobody to, except my parents. But you know, man, when your parents always talking to you about God, you hear them, but man, like, it's our parents. They love us. They supposed to tell us, you know. And I was like, God just was always tugging on me. Like you say, man, that conviction. If anybody, like you said, you don't feel it, something wrong.
Yeah.
Because every time I was doing something, man, I'd come back crying, praying, asking God for forgiveness, but you know, we go right back or whatever.
Yeah.
But at some point, I was like, God, I don't want this. I gotta change it. I don't want to be this woman, this girl, this whatever, just because of what I see.
Right.
Because I had no person to. I tell people that I had no mentor, no person to guide me. None of that. I just had to learn, figure it out on my own. If my dad or my mama wasn't pouring, I had to figure it out on my own. But one thing I truly thanked him for was showing me who God is, pouring God into me. Because like you say, once somebody poured into you, it's in there.
Right, and it ain't coming out.
It ain't coming out. And I just had to, man, I just say, God, I'm just going to accept it and roll with you. There's only one thing I wish they would have told me was loving God, it's just going to make life a little bit harder for you.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And so that goes back to speak to that narrow road.
Yes.
The minute you get on it, then people look at you like you weird. Like, why you talking about God and it's like, man, why wouldn't I? Like, and that's that's the part that. Can I just be like,
this is what this for.
That's the part that bothers me the most. Like a lot of people don't. I got off social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been off social media for like 7 months, and the reason
really?
I hadn't been on social media 7 months, man. And a part of me be wanting to go post about my team and all kind of stuff like that, but just my obedience that I done told myself that I needed to find some things out, and I really wanted to just stay off of that so I could clear my mind up.
Gotcha.
And it's like the last thing I was on there, and it's like people like the crazy conversation that everybody was having was that God is fake. Like, why are we moving and doing all these things, and it's like, man, that's so hurtful to know that you feel like that, man.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna tell you the part that really convicted me after I kind of like got off social media and kind of really started really taking my words serious, like way more serious, was the fact that I grew up the whole time, like we all grew up the whole time knowing about the resurrection, but you never really understand it till you actually understand it.
Yeah, yes.
And it's like, man, once I kind of understood what Jesus went through, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't think we really, like, you hear that church sermon, he laid down his life and he rose again.
But until
it don't resonate with you till you actually know what he went through, man. Like, being, first and foremost, let's start here. I'm the creator, and y'all don't even love me.
Man, you sound like
it's like, just think about it, like putting yourself in his shoes, like if with our understanding, the way we understand the world to be. Like, I think about when he was in the garden and he was asking the Father to take this bitter cup from me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about me being in that situation, knowing what he knows and knowing what he's about to go through. It's like, put me in that situation. It's like, nah, Father, I'm not take this bitter cup from me, Father. I can't go lay down my life for some people
that you don't,
who don't even love me back.
I be thinking about this, like I feel where you're coming from, because I be thinking about. I'm like, God created us. We were created in His image.
In His image. And
a lot of y'all just don't love Him. And I'm like, God, like, how do you say it? I can't remember. I ain't gonna necessarily. Because I don't want to torture. But I'm like, for God to create us, and for a bunch, not all, but for a bunch of people to feel the way they feel about the Creator, and they be so disrespectful. And it touches me. And sometimes I be wanting to say something, but I'm like, God be like, zip it. Don't say nothing, because they are looking for you to argue with them.
Right.
So I look and I'm like, man, to know what God, like you said, went through, to know no matter what we do, He still loves us.
Still love us. He
God
like, the part, I'm gonna tell you the part that got me the most, man. This is when I like really became convicted, man. Right here. I'm reading and I'm understanding and I'm going through this. Like, man, he was beaten, man, like so bad to his skin tissue was like his insides was becoming outside, and they mutilated his body. They hung him by his wrists and his feet. So now imagine, like, I'm on, like, not to mention all the other things in between, man. Like, the things in between were just gruesome.
Yes.
But I think about this part where I'm imagining myself with my back tissue muscles is ripped out, you know, and I'm laying on this raggedy wooden cross. It's rugged, I'm sure, and I got nails in my wrists and nails in my feet, and I'm pretty sure it hurt like hell just to breathe. Something that you have to do,
Yes.
you know, and in that moment, instead of just like, because I'm sure if he wanted to, he could have blew this whole world up. But in that moment, he said, "Forgive them, Father,
I was just about yes.
for they know not what they do." And like I'm thinking about myself in that, and like my vengeful, because like I'm not trying to sit here and paint no picture that I'm perfect now, and that I still have evils that I deal with day to day.
We all do.
You know, and so it's thinking in the moment of me being placed on that cross, and it's like, man, I would have set this world on fire. Like, this is what y'all gonna do to me after, you know,
Everything.
but the love that he had for the people that he created, it's like, I'm gonna still give my life, because y'all don't even know
Yes.
what y'all doing right now.
Yes.
And like, once I understood that kind of love, then it's like, man, how could I ever not worship him and love him every day? Like, if he gave me these kids, and that's what he want me to be steward over, because what I've grown to understand is those kids not mine, my kids not mine. They his, and you know, and I'm just a steward over it.
Yes.
So if he was able to lay his life down and say, "Father, forgive them," because there's many generations coming behind them, and they gon', you know, in my mind, this is what I figured he's saying. Like, there's many generations that's coming behind them, and you know, in infinite time, we will bring forth a generation that's gonna all love, cherish, and serve, you know, and it's our due diligence to be fishers of these kids, or the men or the people we come in contact with. Because if we're not doing that, then we're not doing what his will is. We're doing our will. And that's what I think is the biggest flaw of man. Like, we create our own laws because we feel uncomfortable about what we know is wrong.
Yes. And,
You know?
and that's why I would tell my wife, I say, God convicted me about something. I say, we love people so much, and then sometimes a little bit more than others. Some people do. And we don't even realize, like, when you're on social media, somebody could post something, or they could post a picture or whatever, and you liking it.
Yeah.
Now, you know, normally you shouldn't be liking it, but you're liking it because of the love that you have for that person.
Right.
And God sat me down one day, he said, if it's something that you know isn't right, is it appropriate, or whatever situation, or doesn't glorify me, don't like it, don't share it, don't whatever, because in a sense you are approving it.
You're in agreement.
You in agreement.
You're in agreement with it.
And I told her that, I say, I had to sit down and realize, like, it's so easy to people please.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
by
you-
nature, that's who we want to be. We want to be. My bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm here for you, man.
Oh,
So do you?
oh man, like the biggest thing I tell people that all the time. Like, people think that like every the end all be all is, oh, I want money. I want. The reality is, you only want those things because you understand it comes with a false sense of love. It comes with a false sense of acceptance. So like, the thing is, every human just want to be loved and accepted.
Yes.
You don't really want money. You don't really want a bunch of women. You don't want all the things that the world is trying to tell you. You're really searching for that empty void that's in your heart. But the reality is, that void that you're missing is God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so we don't know that. So we start searching for this sense of approval in people. And the thing is, we don't realize that people are just as messed up as us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So you searching for some approval of somebody who needs approval themselves.
Yes.
And we'll do anything to get that approval. So I understand that if I go out and make $1 million, people gonna flock around me. They're gonna always want to be around me, so I ain't never alone.
Yeah.
You know, or if I get them new cars, or let's say if just coaching, if I become that 4, 5, 6, 7 time state championship coach, now everybody want my approval. Everybody want to be attached to me. And the thing about it is, all of that is false.
It is.
Because the minute you don't have those things, will those people still be there?
And I say this, and I'm like, we fight and we struggle all our life for things that we can't take.
Can't take that stuff.
I say, God doesn't care if I got a 5-bedroom house, 3 baths, and 4 cars in the garage. All that stuff I cannot take.
Can't take it with you.
I say, one of the things they always tell us, and it's okay, oh man, work hard, provide for your family, give them things that you didn't have. So we struggle so much to give them things that we didn't have, not realizing we missing the number one thing, and that's pouring God into them and
Pouring
showing
God
them
into their
that
life.
all these things that you see, it's empty things.
Right.
You
It's
know,
nothing.
it's nothing.
It's nothing. It's like somebody gave me that analogy of, all right, I got $100 bill right here. I'm gonna set it on fire. What is worth now?
Nothing.
Not a thing.
And you did, and people would do all kind of stuff for that
For
$100.
$100, man. For $100, man, it's crazy as this sound, man. You can get somebody killed.
For $100.
Somebody's life can be taken for $100.
Somebody, and you crazy.
If you just talking to the right person.
Yeah. And I be listening and I'm looking, I'm like, but God told me, he said the veil is over a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
And for us, the once the veil was removed from us, we see it.
Right.
But we are the ones that people be looking like, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. And I'm like,
No.
if you knew what we knew,
You knew what
if
I
you
knew.
get in that word, you will realize the times that we in. Because me and my cousin was having this conversation, and then he finally, because we was kind of going back and forth a little bit, but then he was like, I see his points, whatever, but then he was like, you know what? I thought about it, man, you right. We was talking about the end times. And I say, when you read about when God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and you can just imagine the things that was going on then. But I say, look at the times we are in now. It's worse. Yeah, nothing has been done under the sun.
Yeah,
But the
that's
fact we know, we can see, now I see what was under the sun now.
Right.
I say, it takes nothing for a girl to just whip out her phone and just do something. You be like, and the drop of a hat is everybody that's
Everybody
seen it.
got it.
Back then, they couldn't do that. It was more
Right.
so hearsay, and if you didn't see it with your own eyes, you
couldn't
don't believe it.
Right.
I say, nah, he was like, man, you know what? After I sat and I thought about it, you right. I say, man, we are just in times where it's just going, I mean, if you're not getting your life together, if you ain't sitting on there honoring God and doing this, you're going to get left behind because it's not finna get no better.
In the reaping season,
Oh.
man, it's gonna be like, you know, I get into this word, man, and it's like certain things that I used to think, I can't even look at it the same no more. I can't even look at it the same no more. Because the one, first and foremost, is this is the biggest thing that I've kind of grown to understand. The world no longer sees the Bible as the book of life. They just see it as fairy tales.
They
And
do.
the writers of the Bibles, I mean, of the books of the Bible, they just kind of see them as just like characters.
They do.
And that's, you know, so that's what, to me, what makes it hard for somebody young who don't understand that, no, these were actual living witnesses
Yes.
of these things. And it's like the more you actually start basing history to the Bible, you start to realize everything that is going on right now today was going on then. And this was 2,000, 3,000 years ago.
Yes.
You know, and it's like nothing is new under the sun. The same things that they were dealing with back then
We
was
dealing.
same things today. But the thing is technology, but the Bible speaks of that.
Yes.
Technology speeding up and then advancing these problems, and it lets you know that we in the end days.
Yes, and I ain't gonna lie, like I be on it. Like I be, I'm gonna have to start posting more stuff on Facebook. But they could tell you like that's, man, if I'm not doing some pictures of my family, like I'm looking at that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Cause one thing I'm realizing, like I gotta start sharing things because a lot of people don't know.
Right.
But when it's all said and done, God is not gonna try to hear you didn't know.
Right.
You know, it's gonna be no excuse because somebody either should have told you or you came across it.
Right.
And I'm like, y'all better start paying attention to what's really going on because we here now.
Right.
And for so many people just optimistic of it's gonna get better, it's not finna
It's
get
only
no
gonna,
better.
you know, and so like when you said what you just said, just now the first thing that just came to my mind is the world we live in. All right, so let's start here. That the fact that the greatest trick that the devil played on the world is convincing the world that none of this stuff is real.
Yes.
He don't exist. Hell don't exist. God don't exist. None of this stuff exists. Because then it gives human or man the rights to create his own laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, so once you can right your own wrongs, then it's hard to really see that, hey, I'm living a life in sin, you know? Hey, I'm gonna take these parts of the Bible because I think these I can apply to my life, but this
Yeah.
one right here, nah, I
They
like
don't.
that sin. That sin feel good to me, so I don't want to change that one. So, you know, we're gonna throw that one out. And then, nah, God, you couldn't have been talking about it in that way because that feel good to me.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, it's almost like the thing that, you know, everybody want God to be their savior, but nobody want God to be their Lord. And what that
Yes.
mean to me is times go hard. Lord, please save me. Lord,
Yes.
please get me out these
I
times.
was.
But when God says, all right,
Yeah.
obey my commandments, oh God, I can't do all that. I got
Yes.
a party coming up. You know, I got this going on. I got that going on. Lord, you want me to drop everything I'm doing when I got this, that? Oh, obey.
Oh, look, I'm sorry. Like I'm talking about Matthew. It's in John. It was in
John,
John
all right.
chapter 9, verse 31, and it says, "Now we know that God does not listen to sinners, but if any man be a worshiper of God and doeth his will, him he heareth."
Yeah.
And I remember talking to the youth pastor at the church I go to, and he had broke it down for me, and because it blew my mind.
Right.
I'm thinking that God hears all prayers.
No.
If you sinning, God, he could probably hear. Of course, he hear you, but he's not
But it
hearing
falls
you.
in default.
Yeah, and it blew my mind because I'm like, okay. And I started to sit and I'm thinking, I'm like, so now I start thinking deep. I was like, so that means all blessings don't come from God.
Well, what is a blessing though?
And that's when I start digging
What
deep
is
in
a
there. Then I
blessing?
was like,
'Cause
okay,
the world and distorted what blessings really are.
see, now we on the same. And
Yeah.
I start thinking deeper. I'm like, okay, well, God, really, what do we deem blessings? And man, I started to just really start to think about stuff. And I'm like, all right, now I got to start really thinking about stuff different because what I deem as a blessing, God looking at it like, that ain't no
That
blessing.
ain't no blessing.
And I'm like,
Exactly.
So then I'm like, God, okay. So let me just give an example. What if a person gets a job? They already got a good job, but they feel like this one making more money, but this one is going to occupy more time.
Right.
Should you have took that job?
Right.
Because now that's pulling you away from your family and
Family.
some of the routines you already had because you're going to chase this money. Say, God, okay, I got it. So I kind of put that in my, I said, okay, now I see God where you coming from now. And I be trying to tell people now, I'm like, y'all better know God.
You got to.
Because if you out here sinning, oh man, because you know me and my cousin, we would always have these conversations. I'm like, I don't understand how a person could just be living whatever sinful life they want, and then they get something, and then we looking at it like, oh man, they was doing all this, and they got this job, and they got this. Now I'm looking at there could have just been something to farther pull them away from
Watch
God.
this, man. You want to trip you out?
Was
The devil gives blessings as well.
See, then look, I go back and I'm like, well, Satan took God on the mountain, showed him the whole of the land. So,
Man, yeah.
so look, I start thinking deeper. So I'm like, oh, okay.
He was tempting him.
So I was like, if he tempted God and showed him all this, so then I start digging deeper. And then it says in the Bible multiple times that at this moment Satan is the ruler of this world. So,
I'm sorry, man, because you just said something and I'm going to forget it.
go ahead.
Everybody think that Satan is like in hell.
Yeah, see, I used to think like that too.
But
I
the
used to think that
reality
too.
is Satan is roaming this earth. This is his terrain.
Yes.
Hell is the spot that God made for Satan once he goes to reap the chosen, you know, like the followers, you know, and then in that time, that's when Satan is gonna go into hell, and then anybody who wouldn't accept the word, they gonna go with him. And it's a holding place prepared for him. It's not.
But you know where they come from, right? That comes from movies we watch.
Movies.
Satan go to hell, then he come back, then he go there so far.
He's here. He's
Yeah.
around. He's around, and he's how the Bible says he's moving around like a roaring lion,
Yes.
seeking to devour and destroy.
And
You
when
know, and if you got the scales over your eyes, then you thinking, oh man, this stuff ain't. No, man, and that's his job. That is his job to make
Yes.
you feel like none of this stuff is real. Because it's like, if you comfortable in your sin,
yeah.
then why would you ever want to change it? And that's exactly what he wants us all.
Yeah.
Since the falling of man, since the day that they ate the forbidden fruit and was kicked out of the garden, we've all been deceived into believing, hey, I could do me.
Yeah.
I could do me. And the farther we get away from God, the farther that the time of the falling happens, the more it's easier to convince
Yeah.
people that, man, be lovers of self.
And that, yeah,
Be lovers of pleasure.
And there's a lot of people downfall, man. And when we say pleasure, we ain't talking about sex all the time. We talking about things that you love that comes before God.
Food. Anything that you put before God, yourself can be pleasure. Like, like I tell people all the time, like one of the sins that I always struggle with was people, I be at the altar and like people would think like, hey, maybe he up there for something bad, but nah, man, just idolatry. Something as simple as idolatry, man, just putting things before God that I shouldn't be putting before God, like basketball.
Yeah,
it should never go before my Father, So the thing is, we all like try to pick and choose what sins is greater than the other, but all sins are sins. So I just really wish, like, I just really wish that it wouldn't be fair to God though, but I just really wish that everybody could just get like a snapshot before you start living your life, like a snapshot of, hey, if I follow God, this is what it would look like. But if I do it my way, this is what it's gonna look like. But the reality is the thing that we striving for is perfection. You're not gonna ever be perfect. That's why, and I honestly feel like that's the reason why God made the commandments, so that we can understand that you can't live up to all of those things. That's why he say we sinful. Like, no man, if anybody say that you not sinful, then you a lie and the truth is far from you, because he understand that I made these laws because I know that y'all incapable of keeping them. So if you're incapable of keeping them, then now you gotta rely on me. And you gotta rely on the fact that I sent my son to die for you, because he was the perfect lamb. He was the one who could go without sin. You can't. So if you can't accept that, then why would I bring you into this place that I prepared of glory?
Man, And to piggyback off what you said, man, is absolutely right. And I want to say this thought before I forget, man. I was listening to this pastor talk the other day, and he said the reason why I want to say this is because I'm gonna forget. But he said one thing that I do that I applied to my life years ago was, before I feed my body, I feed my soul.
Yeah.
So like when I get up in the morning, I'm reading my word. Before I do anything else, I'm gonna feed my soul to prepare. Of course, prepare for the day or whatever.
Right.
But man, what you said is absolutely right, man. I it just hurts my heart, man. Like to just to know how good God is, man. And we just got so caught up with the world to thinking that's my blessing.
Yeah.
This is what I need. I need the followers. I need the car. I need this, whatever, for that acceptance.
Right.
And the more and more I think about it, I'm like, we've lost touch with just loving each other, man.
Right. And that's but when you look at the commandments, what's the greatest ones?
Love, man. And I think about the love thy neighbor, man, and I'm like, when I even walk in it, man, I just be and I do this purposely, and I said this in another podcast. I look people directly in the face and just say, hey. And this would taught me something recently, like the love of God is not in a lot of people. Because they'll hear you say, hey, and still walk right past you. And I'm like, it's simple stuff like this. So if you can't even tell me, hey, you wouldn't do nothing for me.
Let me trip you out. That word, love. When I first got to Jennings, and I used to do this when I was at LaGrange, that's how I knew that it changed lives. I always tell those kids, man, I love y'all. And when I first started doing it, you could tell it wasn't used to it. Because they would like, love me. Like, this dude weird or something? Like, what's wrong with this dude? Like, and certain faces come to mind, like, instantly. It's like, I remember saying it, and it's like, the first time I said it, they would not say it back. And it's like, it's shattering to me today, like, whenever we in practice, or even in a little text message when I'm trying to, big them up and stuff. I love you. I love y'all, man, and love you too, coach. You know, and it's like every time they say it give me chills because I remember
How it was
day
before.
one, like, hey man, I love y'all. Even though y'all don't know me, I remember talking to them about this, like this after our first real practice, and I kind of was hard on them because like what I instantly realized is everything I know about basketball and how it's supposed to be because I came up through some really great coaches, man. Coach Perry, this dude. That's my cousin, but he's my mentor as well, man. And like the dude taught me so much about it and the way that I identify basketball, you know, from that standpoint, I couldn't rest my team to not do nothing different than the same. And a guy named Coach Hinton, God rest his soul, man, taught me how to do the X's and O's. And then I had Coach Jason Wilson at LaGrange, who allowed me to, my first opportunity to like spread my wings, man, and let me be a coach, like, and so the thing about it is like when I got in there and it's like, man, I love y'all even though I don't even know y'all. And like the first time I said it to him, it was like, that man don't know us. He don't care about us. That's you can tell that was like the look on their face. But every single day I said it to him.
Yes.
Every single day I said it to him, and then I not only because like how they say a pair of lips can say anything, but I started showing them through my actions every day, and it's like now they understand, man. This man loves me, like this man cares about me. This man will do whatever it takes to see me succeed, and so like the magic antidote, if I had to say to anybody, like, oh, what you be doing with those guys to make them play that hard, man? I love them. I love them, man. What you see is the reciprocation of them loving me back.
Was powerful, man, and like I didn't even understand like the magnitude of what comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Like when death in life is in the power of the tongue. I didn't understand it until like I really just sat down and started realizing like, man, what comes out of your mouth speaks a lot. And because for me, man, I used to be one of the ones I'm gonna say whatever's on my mind.
Yeah. If I get mad, yeah.
Look,
when I get mad, look, watch this, and I'm gonna cry, bro. So I'm gonna cry. So if I start crying, it's problems. Like when I was young, bro, I used to fight a lot. I don't know why, bro. Angry kid, I guess. I don't know. But like if I start crying,
you let it fly.
Wrap. But anything else, like I'm quiet. So you didn't even know you was bothering me until I done got to that point. And when I don't know how to come back. That's why I had to humble myself.
Yes.
I had to humble myself because my temper, once I don't know how to come, like once I get to that fuse point, I can go anywhere with it. I can go anywhere with it. And it's like, man, I don't want to be that guy. Like that's definitely not who I want to be as a person.
And that's how I was, man. I think I got to a point where like, I was like, it's not awkward for me to apologize, but I'm like, it just feels fun. I'm like, so you know what, God, I'm gonna watch what I say, be slow to speak.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, I'm tired of just apologizing and then come back and do the same thing. And then I realized the profound effect that it has. Because sometimes you say stuff and it's hard to come back from.
You can't take it back either.
You can't take it. And I'm like, because I didn't even understand, man, like how mentally you can abuse somebody with your words. I didn't realize that, man, like, I ain't gonna say I grew up slow, but I was just immature for so long.
Right.
And I didn't realize I say something and then I'm sorry or whatever, not realizing the effect that words have. And when I realized that, and like I say, man, like when you get closer to God, you just start realizing some of the stuff you did, and I'm like, I was a messed up person.
Oh yeah. And once you start healing, see, like I learned God can't even really show you things until you actually start healing.
Yes.
Like if you don't, like, I think about it like, watch this. My daughter, man, like my firstborn is like a big part of how I became Coach Lars. Like all this stuff, like without her, I don't know if it's actually in existence.
I got you.
So, and the thing that hurts me the most is she's probably the person who I hurt a lot. Because the thing about parenting is it don't come with a rule.
A manual. You ain't got no manual.
Like how you do it the right way. So I'm just trying to do it the way the world say. Your child do this, tear them up, and it's like I never thought that. Like when she was a little girl, man, I was coaching and I was serious about this coaching stuff, man, especially when I was at LaGrange. And it's like she would come in and she just really wanted my attention, you know? And I'm like, all right, hey, look, take this ball, sit down, and, you know, and I'm going to do this. You know, daddy got to coach. Because in my mind, I think I'm being the provider. I'm being the man, you know? And coaching and all that provides for the house. So I'm think I'm doing something right, but in reality, the scales is over my eyes just like everybody else. I'm just so flawed, you know? And so, you know, you fast forward, she goes from this really quiet, sweet little girl to now she's getting in trouble all the time.
So you looking like what's going on?
Yeah, and it's like, now it's, you know, I know what to do, and I'm taking her to the office and I'm tearing her up, you know? I'm not realizing the damage that I'm really doing to my child, you know? And it's like, once you start actually waking up to what's reality, it's like, man, I really was like beating my child, not beating in the sense of like.
Nah, I know what you mean. I know,
you know, people get that misconstrued, but you know, I was really punishing my child for little things like yellow marks, or she can't sit still in class, or. But, you know, when I realized, you know, when God started unveiling things to me, like letting me know that, hey, man, she went through all those things. That's on you. And it was hard to understand. Like, it was hard for me to take that. Like, a lot of that stuff that she's going through, that's on you.
Yes.
Not on her, it's on you. And, like, how I know it's on me is, the thing is, the more I got aggressive about that stuff, the more she did. Like, the more she would get in trouble. It's almost like, you ain't gonna give me attention one way, I'm gonna get the attention that I'm seeking anyway. It's like that African proverb that say, the child that don't feel a warmth of the community or burn the city down or the community down to feel a warmth or feel the heat.
Yeah.
And it's just basically what she was at in. And it is like, all of these things that she's going through, I could have really fixed with just conversations and talking to her and making her understand that, hey, you know, put the coaching whistle down for a minute and just sit down with your child and make her understand why what she's doing wrong versus take her in the office, give her a spanking, come back out, you know, and go back to coaching. Because now it's like, oh, I just got a whooping. Why?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, man, that right there in itself, man, like, just, you know, once God started to heal me, that's all things I was in denial about. Like, I'm really, you know, in the moment, I'm telling myself, she doing all these things because of the world. She doing all these things because of these kids she around, social media, phones, and no, man. She's doing all this stuff because she's pleading for your attention and you ain't giving it to her.
Man, and I'm glad that you said that, man, because a lot of men, a lot of young boys out there that's fathers, they don't realize that the mother can give them attention, but when the dad give them, it's different.
It's different.
And that's how my two little girls is, man. And that's something like for the past almost year now, I've been really harping on, like, I got to give them time.
Yeah.
You know, my little 4-year-old, she has this little routine now. It's like, Daddy, can I have some popcorn? And can we go watch a movie?
Oh, yeah.
So I always make it in my mind, the minute she asks, I'm dropping whatever I'm doing, and I'm giving her that time. And I want it to be so routinely that she really, that like, this is what we doing.
Right.
Because that's like, you love me.
Right.
You give me time. My wife and we can go buy them whatever. But that time my daughter, they want that time.
Go back to what we said in the beginning.
Go back to what we
time.
And man, I tell, man, I can't stress it enough to fathers, man, that time is so important and they want it, man. Like,
that's all they really want.
That's all they really want. They don't. We can go buy them an expensive gift right now. They play with it, cool.
Because it's just something of this world. It don't fill the void.
It don't fill that void.
It don't fill that void. It's like we need the void of the father. Those kids need the void of the fathers.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's crazy. Like, a lot of people, especially like in this world right now, especially where they pitting men against women so bad, some people, me saying that may be like a red flag. Like, oh, no. Fathers are important, man, for the upbringing of children. It's like, you know, and I tell my daughter this all the time, like, I'm sorry that I couldn't be the dad for you that I am for Easton and Kinley. Because I didn't know no better then. You know, and I know it probably pained her to know, like, man, when I was their age, that would have been X, Y, and Z. But now he's soft. Like, you know, she don't say stuff like that, but I know that's what she think. Like, he's soft now. So he don't even do them nothing. He don't. But I've grown to understand that through her, you know, the mistakes I made on her, none of that stuff works. What really works is presence of the father. You know, being there for, you know, when she, and the biggest thing is what I've grown to understand is accountability, man. Like, actually holding your kid, like, no whooping will better your child like holding them accountable.
Yes.
Telling them what they did.
I hardly
wrong.
whip my kids. Like I don't curse. I rarely yell. If I yell, like they know, you know, like I didn't ask you 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
You know, but I pride myself on being patient. I pride, like, if they do something, come here, let's talk about it. Like, why? I wanna understand why you did
Why
it.
you did it.
You know, and then now we finna talk about why you can't do it. And I've seen parents, man, that sit down there and curse their kids out and do these things, and I'm like, is that love to you? Because you providing clothes and expensive shoes and bikes and whatever, like, but you know what you doing verbally to them, man, that's just it's gonna be a generational thing.
Curse. And that's what, like, to me, that's what like when people speak of generational curses, they speak of it as something as though it's something that the devil like placed on you and you just can't get it off. And the reality is all of that stuff is just tied up into your upbringing. You know, it's no different than what I said. Like, you know, I whipped my kids because what I thought was, you know, the right way, because you hit it, man. Hey, the reason why these kids like this today is because, you know, nobody whooping them no more. And I'm not going to be that parent. I'm going to whoop mine. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to be that parent.
So you be extra aggressive because you didn't hurt it so much.
Right, and you think that's really what's going to save the kids, but we don't realize that when you really break down the trueness of this stuff, man, this world, like the thoughts of this world, shall I say, was thought of by people who were no smarter than us. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, they flawed thinking is what created the flawed thinking of how we think today, and that's the curses that we got to break. So if the curses if it's generational curses that need to be broken, it's just the thinking of how we perceive life to be.
Yes.
You know, it's no different than, like, say, the way we eat. You know, it's like, all right, yeah, you got hypertension. It's in your bloodline. No, it's not.
It's what we eat.
It's in how your mama cooked and your grandmother cooked and your great-grandmother and your
The recipes that
was handed down from generations. It's the reason why you got high blood pressure in your family. It's not, because, you know, first thing I realized was, you know, I was sick. Like, a lot of people don't know this, I'm vegan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look, and see, been vegan almost 10 years now.
Wow.
Like 10 years now, maybe. I don't want to tell no lie, but something like that, around 10 years, probably a little, it may be a little more than that if I could really think about it. But, you know, I was like 20-something years old, man. Like, my heart was tripping out, all kind of stuff, man. I had hypertension, had a little episode where I, like, blacked out on a bench at LaGrange and went to the doctor the next day, and my blood pressure was still through the roof. And changed my diet. Like, they was trying to put me on medicine, all kind of crazy stuff, man. I'm like 20-something years old, bro. Still got abs. You could run a 9.5 in a mile and a half. Like, it's like how I end up.
Yeah, like
with like that, and it's like, you know. But it's the way I eat. Like, you know, I was one of them guys, I go to McDonald's or Burger King, bro. I don't want no lettuce, no tomatoes, no onions, but give me extra bacon, give me mayonnaise, mustard, barbecue sauce. You sound
like me. Oh,
cheese,
man.
Give me the works, and then I want the big fries, not no little fries, soda and all, you know. And so no wonder I was, you know, in that type of shape. You know, I could cook a sauce with the best of them. I can eat sauce every day, rice and gravy every day, you know, and don't want no mustard greens, no cabbage, I want meat and rice, you know. So no wonder I got sick so fast, you know. But curses, to me, you know, it's just understanding what God really got for your life, and then actually want to follow Him. So it's like one thing is to know God, but the next thing is to actually be obedient to Him.
Yeah,
And that's the hard part.
I said that yesterday.
That's the hard part.
I said that yesterday, man, and the crazy part about it is me and my wife talk about this, and she always would tell me, she said, "There's I don't even think I ever caught a whipping. You know, I don't even think like I was just that type of child. So when you see her grow up to be the woman that she is, and I'm like, sometimes it's just different. Everybody, you know, of course we parent different, but it was the love that she was showing. And I'm not saying I didn't get the love. I was just bad, you know, growing up. But it doesn't sit there and say because I whip you, you're going to go this way.
Right.
We know plenty of people that always call whippings, and they was some of the
beat
most
down,
terrible.
And they become
people.
the worst ones. Because, you know, the more you whip a child, the more you beat a child, you just make them angry.
They come numb to it.
Yeah,
like
they just like, all right, this is how, and then they start to perceive this is how life's supposed to be. I'm supposed to inflict pain on people, and people inflict pain on me.
I've heard children be like, I did this, I already know what's coming, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm cool
and
with
I'm
it. Man, look, you ain't never him. It's heaven or hell. It's whatever. It's whatever.
Like,
the consequences is whatever.
Yeah, so like, man, I'ma just go do me because I already know she gonna hit me or whatever. And I'm like, dang, they didn't got numb to.
Yeah. What's supposed to be the last resort? Like, I don't even know. Like, you know, I look at that word when it say spat or rod, and I'm not really even sure 100% that when he's saying that he's actually talking about, like,
I think,
whooping.
I don't think, I think, I guess because we've heard people weaponize the Bible.
Yeah, because that's what I'm about to say. People use context of the word
for their
own, you know, like it's no different than change the laws and commandments of the word. Like, I don't, you know, I like sex. I ain't about to let nobody change, you know, how I feel about me going on my escapades. So I'm gonna take that part out the Bible, but man, you better not tell no lies. I better not catch you stealing. You know, I love my neighbor, but man, I don't like my neighbor. He let his dog out and use it in my yard. But we pick and choose
how we wanna
use God. You know what I'm saying? Or how we wanna, you know, we use God when it's convenient.
When it's
that's
convenient.
Crazy to me.
You know, just like and I would always think about this sometime, and I was like, growing up, man, the world had us all messed up. Like, if you tell the truth, you a snitch. And I'm like, and once the veil, like I said, once the veil was removed over our eyes, we looking like, man, the world truly goes against everything that God say do.
But why you think that is?
And when you read the word, you know who that ruler is, right. And I'm like, I get it now, God. Like a whole bunch of stuff, I'll just be sitting back. I get it now.
And so, like, that's how I know that he can't give you information until you are healed, because you wouldn't even understand it. Like, think about a kid who's growing up in like, go back to what you were saying, snitch culture, no snitch culture, right? My best friend will get killed, and I'm not going to say nothing about it. I'm going to deal with it on my own. Like, I'm going to take that matter into my own hands. I'm going to take somebody, a child of God, off this earth, because I can't go tell the police about it.
Because they're going to label me a snitch.
Because they're going to label me a snitch. I can't just bail out gracefully about it, because then they're going to say, man, you're a coward. You ain't ride for your homeboy. So what line can I cross? You know, so it's one of those things. It's like that the warfare that we fight is not physical. It's all mental. Like the devil is not attacking you physically. He, you know, it's like this. For me, can't speak about nobody else, but he can't attack my car. He can't attack my house. He can't attack nothing of this world, because I don't care about this world. I don't put things of importance on these things in this world. My car break down today, guess what? It don't matter, because I done had it for almost 13, 14 years. It done served its purpose, and I actually got a little money. I can go buy me another one, you know? Or I can go put a down payment on another little cheap one. I ain't gonna buy no brand new one. So if it kicks the bucket today, hey, God, thank you for allowing me to have that car just long enough just to save my money and keep my family. What he has to attack for me is my family.
Yes.
or he gotta attack these kids that I, that God done placed me a steward over. Cause other than that, he can't hurt me. So I understand, like, and that's how I know when God is preparing you to become somebody that he's using, then he starts to reveal these little things to you to make you aware of where the devil is about to try to hit you.
Yes.
So, like, he's going to attack my children. I get it. Like, I understand that wholeheartedly. I know that no matter what I do to raise my children are going to do things that make me question my faith. Or he can't attack. Let's say if God puts his hands over my immediate family, then he's going to attack the kids that I'm a part of in Jennings, because he knows that staggers my walk. That, for instance, finding out those kids were going to be placed ineligible, I wasn't worried about them for the basketball part, because I understand that that's not the end all be all. The part that I was more concerned about is this. Once they walk out of this gym and they don't have nothing else to do with their time,
what it was.
I know what's out here in this community waiting for them. And that's the part, like, people always ask me, like, man, why you do so much with those guys, man? Y'all all over the place in the summer. Man, y'all burn up some bus miles. Because I know, man, they ain't got nothing to do with Jennings. So why not get them out of Jennings and get them on the road and let them see things and let them do things? They might not ever play this game at the next level.
But, yeah, and like I said earlier, that I constantly, nobody but God know my prayers. Nobody but my family know the things I talk to them about. And there's one thing I said, I was like, God, these kids need something in their hands. And that's why when I see y'all, because when you was posting, I would see like tournaments and stuff like that, and I was like, that's very profound on them, because like you said, after that, there's nothing. That's it.
That's it. Like that's why I try to make sure they got the highlights, all that stuff. I texted to them, and pictures and all that stuff is important to them, because that's gonna be the memories.
That's gonna be and you know what's crazy? And when and I'm glad we talking about this, is when I first started going to the school and taking pictures, and I ain't gonna lie, I slipped this year, because I even questioned, like, do I even want to still be doing this? But when I first started, I wanted to go in and I wanted to kind of change how stuff was, because truth be told, I don't know who was taking the picture before, but it was never no wild pictures. And I'm like, sometimes it's just giving them things like that to, like, man, these pictures are amazing. Like everybody else see with the smoke and those type of things. That's what I wanted to really come in and do. And I'm like, Jennings is so stuck in their mentality, like it's an afterthought.
Yeah.
And I was like, it shouldn't be that way, because it should be bringing excitement for them to want to
change.
Man.
But nobody like change.
Nobody like change. I would go in and I would offer recommendations. And it was kind of like, all right, we'll think about it and let you know. But then I'm like, at some point, I'm like, I can't keep fighting this battle.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I offer, like, even when I was doing the scene, like when I would go in and do the senior pictures and stuff like that, I offered ideas. I would offer certain things, and it was like, in order for us to do it, I know we need a certain time.
Right.
Y'all can't have me come taking pictures and be like, all right, come during the school time, but you only got a certain amount of time. I'm like, we ain't gonna be able to get nothing done. But then you see schools in Lake Charles doing something, and you're like, why can't we do this?
Right.
Talk to the school. I'm like, man, we gotta. If y'all do it this way, it's going to pump the kids up to want to. But I'm gonna be back on it next year, because I'm getting into video, whatever. Right.
I like video, man.
Yeah, I'm getting into video because I'm like, it's gonna impact more. So one of the things that I was telling my mom, I want to start a nonprofit where I could pull people in, teach them podcasts and teaching them video, teaching them this, and I can go to the game and say, all right, y'all take these 2 cameras, y'all go get the pictures, we gonna get the videos and put stuff together for y'all. Because as coaches, y'all can only do so much. And then I even got one day and I was like, I went on a little Max Prep thing and I'm just looking and I'm like, hey, Jenny.
And so, like, man, you said a mouthful. And I'm trying to keep up, because it's like so many things that you said. But I'm gonna twirl it all into one thing. This world now is so far advanced, and everybody is scared of the change.
Scared of the change.
To keep up. See, but the thing is, I'm not sure if it's the change that they scared of, or the unwillingness to want to learn something different. You know, because it's like, all right, everything you just said, it takes somebody who has to have a will to want to learn. And it's like, man, this world done painted this picture to us that, man, we got so much going on. We ain't got time for this, or we ain't got time for that. And it's like, I came here with the understanding that how I captivate the audience to my kids and how I make my kids feel good about themselves is by painting this picture to the community of my kids, you know? So like when I came in, man, I hit the ground running, man. We getting videos, we getting photos, we getting the works, the way I know how to do it, you know, coming from Lake Charles. And I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of it is like, man, I don't know about all this, I don't know about all that, you know, and it's like, I just wanna blast my kids to the world. Like I want my kids to feel like they program is no different than the Zacharys, no different than the Madison Preps, no different than the Port Allens and all those places. Because the thing I understand is, in order to become a championship program, it has to be a program first.
Yes.
It has to be a program first. You can't, like, if you think that for the Wild is that, oh, all I gotta do is show up in the gym and practice, and then no, man, it starts with a lot of different things. We talking about a different age of kids now.
Yes.
We talking about kids who
Kids got no high, like none of these professional things, and I'm like, what's going on? We in the media age,
right? And so, like, man, you said a mouthful. And I'm trying to keep up because it's like so many things that you said. But I'm gonna twirl it all into one thing. This world now is so far advanced, and everybody is scared of the change.
Scared of the change
to keep up. See, but the thing is, I'm not sure if it's the change that they scared of, or the unwillingness to want to learn something different. You know, because it's like, all right, everything you just said, it takes somebody who has to have a will to want to learn. And it's like, man, this world done painted this picture to us that, man, we got so much going on. We ain't got time for this, or we ain't got time for that. And it's like, I came here with the understanding that how I captivate the audience to my kids and how I make my kids feel good about themselves is by painting this picture to the community of my kids, you know? So like when I came in, man, I hit the ground running, man. We getting videos, we getting photos, we getting the works, the way I know how to do it, you know, coming from Lake Charles. And I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of it is like, man, I don't know about all this, I don't know about all that, you know. And it's like, I just wanna blast my kids to the world. Like I want my kids to feel like they program is no different than the Zacharys, no different than the Madison Preps, no different than the Port Allens and all those places. Because the thing I understand is, in order to become a championship program, it has to be a program first.
Yes.
It has to be a program first. You can't, like, if you think that for the Wild is that, oh, all I gotta do is show up in the gym and practice, and then no, man, it starts with a lot of different things. We talking about a different age of kids now.
Yes.
We talking about kids who can't perform unless they feel good about themselves.
Yes.
So I never forget getting I think Tyreek. I hope I ain't saying that guy name wrong, man. He did our first video.
Oh yeah, that's when because we had came at the same time. That wasn't when we came at the same. Oh, this was before.
So that's the second guy.
The second.
That's the one who taught me to start doing video.
Oh, okay.
Tyreek did. I know I'm saying it wrong. He from Opelousas.
Okay.
And he came in and shot our first video, man. And it was like, man, the whole community was like, bro, what is this? Like, this is crazy. Like, man, you know, how many y'all gonna shoot another one? They'll be coming, you know. And so it's like everybody got excited about that, you know. And then Bryce is the guy who did the second one, you know. And he came in and he not only just shot it, like he started teaching me. And I got my own camera. You know, I know you see me in the back of the end zone and all kind of stuff. And I done made so much stuff that I never released and like found out so much about cameras and stuff like that. And, you know, but it's just a hobby that right now I can't really just dive into like I want to because I really want to be a really great coach. So it's hard.
You can
like,
only do so much.
I'm only one person. So, but like, man, if I think like if they had like a class or a reach out center or something,
I think
where kids could go and learn these traits, man. Like, not only is it gonna give them something to do, man, but you talking about giving them a way to make money.
Yeah, I've been talking to my parents about it, like heavy, like, cause I see the future, and I'm like, I get on social media, and I'm like, I see all these little schools, and people didn't even got scholarships because you discover unknown talent.
Yeah,
and I'm like, it makes no sense for Jennings not to have it. And I've been talking to my mom, I was like, Mom, if I can just start something and just pull a few of these, I say some of these students want to learn. And I say, just to get them in, just to do so many different things. I say it would, like I say the money gonna come. I say we can get them in here, train them. We could start setting up stuff where they can make money from shoots and stuff like that. And I just have been thinking about that heavy. That's why I say I'm coming back next year and I'm coming to all the sports just to start doing video because pictures is cool.
yeah.
But if I can get the video it hits way different. So I'm coming next year, and by next year I'll be ready to put my little stuff together. But yeah, man, I'll be looking at a lot of stuff. I'll be thinking, I'm like, man, if I just had a few people to just rock with me, we can go.
You know you got me, man.
You know, but I know you be coaching. You know, you coaching, and like I said, you can only do so much. But I'm like, if we could set it somewhere where even the school would kind of associate themselves with it, where we could pull some of these students in and train them and go to the games. I'm like, man, we hit every game.
Right.
You know, in pictures and video.
But you know what they would do for the morale of the kids?
Man.
To know that, like, man, we got social media, you know, we got a social media base that puts us, because, like, that's what these kids care about.
I'm going to start the nonprofit. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
They care about that, man, like what my image is. You know?
Yes.
And so it's like, I know that if I feel good about myself, I feel good about, you know, I'm going to really start caring.
Do you imagine if they knew, like, man, they coming tonight, they finna shoot, like, they finna record these videos, so, like you said,
we're going to turn up. That's
man, you know what they would do for them?
We about to turn up.
Man, you wouldn't see nobody lacking on defense. You would just see them locked in focus because, like, man, this on video.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk to my friend. Like, I got to do it. I got to do it.
They really care more about processed information, fast information. It's like, man, I don't really care about what these people saying. I really want to see it. Like,
they want to see it. And I ain't lying. I be looking. I like, Jennings needs something. That's been on my heart the last couple months. I'm like, yeah. I was like, because even like when I would go to the games and I'm by myself taking pictures, I'm like, man, if I could have just had, I'm on this side, somebody on the other side.
Yeah, angles.
And I'll just be sitting down there thinking, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do something. I gotta do it. I gotta.
If you get you a bunch, I think if you gave, first and foremost, if you got you a bunch of kids, you giving them an outlet, something other than sitting on that phone all day doing nothing. But then you giving them an actual trait, something that they can go and make money off of. Like one of the guys who I like highly respect is a guy named Tadamy in Lake Charles.
Yeah, I met him a couple years ago. You probably don't remember, but I met him.
Tadamy, like, bro, the dude is amazing at this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
him and his wife.
Somebody taught this dude how to do this. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, or maybe he did teach himself. I don't know. But the thing is, he's well respected in his field. Yeah. Just imagine how many of these kids around here that could really take that to the next level and really, you know, maybe God does things for us for different reasons. Like, hey, I might not be the coach that's gonna win a bunch of state championships, but the more I keep coaching, the more guys who start to tether on to me and start asking me for information. Maybe I might be able to help them win. Maybe his job for me is just basically grooming these kids to be great men. That's not my job to be champions, but I'm going to give the right information to the right coach who in the right situation, and he may become the champion coach, you know? So we don't know why God give us these gifts, but the thing is, these gifts are not for us. It's like I don't know where I heard this, man, but I love this little saying. God didn't give a fruit tree fruits so that it can consume it. It gave fruit tree the fruit so that it can bear fruit for everybody else.
Yeah, and that's why I made it in my life. It's like, cause I even tell myself, I was like, I've accumulated so much equipment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, some places I just be trying to store places. And I'm like, I just want to be, like you said, I want to be that person to be able to pass it on. I'm like, cause I self-taught myself everything.
Right.
You know, I tell people
It's a lot of things, bro.
Man,
a lot of things.
I say sometimes I'm looking, I'm like, I don't know why God just pointed me to learn this and learn this, but I did it. So I was like, I want to be able to pass that on to others. So maybe they may not stay under my wing forever.
Right.
And they might just go on to teach somebody else, but I'm like, it starts somewhere.
Right.
You know, and just thinking about that, man, I'm gonna really push to do it, because it's like you never know who you can impact by doing it.
You don't know who life you might save by doing it.
And
They may be spending more time in here than they doing out in the streets. And that might save just one of them. That's one less we got to read about who got killed or who killed somebody. Because whether you shoot it or you get shot, a life is lost.
And that's crazy, man. And I'm thinking about, we're going to have to push for it, because I think so much people are so out of touch. And like you said, social media can be used for good, and it could be, anything could be used for good or bad. You know, but it's what you do.
Too much of a
with
good thing always turn into a bad thing.
But man, I when it comes to kids, I'm like, man, I want to learn. And of course, you know, sometimes they just be, oh, look at that camera, I want to learn. But some of them truly really want to learn. It's
especially
just
the ones who spend all day on social media. They like really, like this is my first time, like no cap, bro. This is my first time like doing like a podcast thing.
For real?
Like so, bro, I was excited all day about it. Like telling my wife, like, man, I'm about to be. Like I didn't know what to say, like, but you know, I just trust that God was gonna set us down and open up a candid conversation. I don't even know how long we've been here, and it's you know,
almost 2 hours.
Oh wow, wow! So, but that just go to speak, like, man, once you sit me down and get me talking about how good God's been to me, man, I could do this. Bro, I could do this all day. Like, man, whereas back in the past, like, that was used to be like talking about sin, like, you know, oh man, you know, escapades or, you know, things we've been on. Like, now it's like God done made such a change in me that, like, all I care about is bearing fruit for the people that's tethered to me. Like, and, you know, and it's like, I used to think that used to be a problem. Like, oh man, they just using me, or, you know, no, it's not. And that's the way the devil attack you in your mind. It's like, man, the only reason why they, you know, blase is because, you know, they using me. I got something that they need. And no, you're right. You got something they need, but it ain't yours. It's God. He gave it to you to give to them.
Yes.
You know, he gave you this infinite wisdom on whatever this situation may be, not for you, not to glorify you, but to glorify him. You know, and once I started doing it in that way, like, you can ask my kids, like the kids that I coach now, everything we talk about, I find a way to tie it back to how God is doing this for us. Because I don't want them to leave and then be able to, you know, Coach didn't teach me this. You know, because, you know, at some point in my life, I have to pass. Like, we all only promise death. And the thing is, when I pass, I don't want to go before God and he say, man, I made you steward over thousands of kids, man.
And
not one of them did you fish them in for me? Not one?
Yeah. And that's the reason why, like, I want to do this podcast, though, man, because crazy not, like, some of this stuff I've been having for, like, 4 years, podcast equipment. And, like, God give me the vision for something, and I'll be like, all right, God, I'm coming, I'm working on it. I used to tell so many people that, like, I'm working on it till it was like, I'm telling lies.
That's why I started
here.
pushing. You know, I started pushing like, hey man, what's up?
And I ain't gonna lie, like, in December, I was like, once I start, I'm gonna keep it going. And what happened was, it was supposed to be me, my cousins, and all of us. But, you know, everybody got lives and stuff like this, so I would hold up what God told me to do because everybody else was busy. And then I just got to a point and God said, yeah, man, and God was like,
I won't ever do that no more.
You've become too lenient on others. And my wife asked me one day, she was like, why every time you got to do something, you got to do it with other people?
Right. Something he gave to you.
Yeah, and I was like, Man, I ain't gonna lie, like my pride in the set kicked in. I was like, well, what you mean? I could do it by myself if I want to. I'd just be trying to pull people in because that's what I start putting in my mind. And I was like, you know what? Nah, it's like, you know what, this year gonna be the year that if I could have people come on, cool. If not,
you just gonna sit down and do it. Because the practice make perfect.
Yeah, so
the practice make perfect. So even if like I don't know if I ever do this again. Like this was fun.
You
this was fun.
Man,
but it's like
you definitely coming back
right.
because
No, I'm like that's the point I was about to make. It was like I don't sitting down before we started. I don't know if I ever do this again. Like
man,
we
don't
know
back.
what but like after doing it, it's like man, this was so fun.
It was
like I hope that God gave me a word that if it just reached one person,
man, they gonna see Coach on here. They gonna tune in.
Right.
They gonna listen.
So, man. I hope so.
They gonna listen. But you
definitely,
I definitely want you to come back. Like
I'll be here.
Man, all you gotta do is hey, I'm free this and let's pencil it in, man. Because man, it's the season of pulling people in the God,
right,
man. That's why I love the godly talks because it's like this is what we need. We can talk about everything else and it's cool. But I love to talk about God because I know, man, I don't know how much time we got left, but the time that we do have, I want it to be like, oh. And I used to not, when people be like, oh, you finna talk about God, I used to look at it like oh, you trying to be funny. Now I look at it like, yeah, this is what we finna talk about.
Right.
Because it's so needed.
Right.
So needed, man. And
people just don't know, man. Like you gotta, like we have to be real about it, man. People just don't know. Like I was just that same person, however many years ago, man. Like that wasn't the conversation I was trying to have. It was like it really took God to convict me to make me understand that, man, everything that you putting before me, like it means nothing. What if I take all that today? What if I take you today?
And God, all that knowledge I gave you, you didn't pass it on.
You didn't give it to nobody.
Because one of the things I wanted to start doing is I want people to really start thinking that, yes, a lot of us know God, but a lot of us don't love God.
Right.
And that's one thing I really want people to understand. It's like, if there's any hate in your heart, jealousy, if you a people pleaser, like you don't love God, like you know him. Like all of us could sit there and say we know who the Lord Jesus Christ is, but do you really love him?
Or will you even be obedient?
That's what I was just about to say that. Like a lot of us don't want to be obedient because
being obedient
we love our friend.
Because I was about to say not hard if it burns the flesh. Because you already know that if you got a mass of people standing right there and they talking and you trying to be accepted, when you walk into that circle and stuff, hey man, let me tell y'all about God. Man, you already know what type of, oh man, he come, but that's the whole part of faith.
Yes.
It's like understanding that what I'm about to talk about, nobody gonna want to hear. But it's my due diligence, not just to talk about it, but to live in that way, whenever they look at my life, they gonna say, you know what though, bro? If I don't believe, what I do understand is that man living what he's saying.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So God gotta be doing something. Like, when you think about, watch this, God's not real. That's, somebody say that. But if you really do your homework and your research, and you'll understand that all of the apostles, all of the followers of God, the witnesses of God, man, they lost their life behind what they witnessed. Like, they didn't just say, hey, man, we going to make up all this stuff and we going to get famous off of it, and we going to write a book called the Bible, and it's going to go for eternity, and man, we're going to live it up. Like, that wasn't how this all went. Like, these people were shamed. They were beaten. They were dragged from pillar to post. Yeah. And then to end it all, they were crucified and martyred behind what they witnessed. So it's like this.
Oh, you can imagine God telling them to do something. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, man, I was listening to this guy tell the story of Noah. And I didn't even realize from the time God had told Noah to build an ark till it was done, it was 100 years. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So he was breaking it down. He was like, could you imagine Noah building this big old ark and having to deal with the people that was, you crazy. Yeah. It ain't raining this long and this ain't gonna happen and he probably telling these people like the vision that God gave him, because I'm pretty sure he warned them,
Right.
and how they thought that man was crazy and the things they probably was doing to him and his family
Oh yeah, man.
within that span of 100 years. Because people don't realize how many. It sounds like a Marvel movie when
Yeah.
you sit there and say Noah lived for what, 800 years? Now, like if for you to tell somebody like this man lived 800 and something years,
Yeah.
people can't even you
Fathom
can't.
it.
You know, and I'm like, when he started breaking that down, I'm like, Noah went through this. So you mean to tell me I can't want to say how good God is and lead people?
Right.
All God is asking you to be is to be a disciple, and you can't do that.
Yeah,
He's
right.
not asking you to be Noah.
Right.
He's just asking you to tell
Yeah.
people how good God is and lead them
And show
towards
'em-
me.
And show them with your actions. That's it. And it's
That's
like
it.
The man that stood at the end of the time and said, "Hey, let there be light."
And we
An unformed world put into formation.
put it there.
And it's like, nah, I don't want to do it that way. Man, that's like you would rather take your chances on what you believe.
Because with the world, and I'll say this too before we go. I'm like, we claim to be so smart, and everybody a leader, but you following what the next person
Yeah,
doing.
who follows.
Because
follow,
what if
follows.
like you say, what if somebody say, well, you know what, we not listening to hip hop music no more. Then everybody start. Then you gonna want to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you're not doing it on your own free will. You're just doing it because the next
Next
person.
person do it. And that's why I say, like, I love being the different one now.
I love.
Like, I love being a different one now. Because it's like, when I look at the rest of everybody else, it's like, man, y'all don't have an identity, man. It hurts me really, like, to know that, man, I am so true to me now. Like,
Yes.
I am so, because I am loyal to God, and because I'm disciplined and I'm trying to do it the right way, I don't look like y'all. I don't talk like y'all. I do these things in a way that, like, am I perfect? No, by no means. But I can actually feel good about myself when I go home at night that I ain't got tricked by a man.
That's how I
doing
feel.
it, like, because basically that's what you when you a follower, you basically live your life based off of who you following, like the
Yes.
approval of who you following.
Yes.
So I don't need y'all approval, because the person who gives me approval, he's already approved me.
Yes, and I say it's so simple to sit down there and think, right? Like on social media, what they call the people that influencers. So
Yeah.
that influencer is influencing you to go against God.
Yeah.
That person you following, you are a follower. So that's when you watch who you follow and you
That's
watch
funny
who
that you
influence.
said it like that.
You see what I'm saying? And man, when God start breaking down, I say, God, you know what? I tell myself this every day.
follower.
Don't let the devil trick you out your position. I tell myself
look
that
how you
every
said
day.
that though, man. That
No.
just kind of
You
messed me
see?
up. Like, the devil make you okay with being a follower, because that's what you gotta.
That's what you gotta do.
yourself as. It's crazy that you say that, man. I've never hit this the follow button. Like, I got Instagram, man. I don't have no followers.
Man, one thing I
I don't
started
know
doing,
if that's weird or with
I only follow people that if you're talking about God and you call my attention, I'm gonna follow you. I follow a few like these little people that talk about shoes, but other like NBA and all them, I sit on my feet, but I don't follow. And I'm not saying nothing wrong with NBA basketball, or whatever, but I don't follow a lot of people because I'm like, I just don't want to be influenced by it.
Yeah, that's why
And
I
I tell
don't.
people that's why I don't have no. I don't really have friends now because it's like I can't sit and be in agreement with stupidity. I
Right.
can't like. I'll be looking and I'm like,
And I
can't
don't
do
know
it.
how to not say nothing.
I don't
about
know
it
how
either.
to. So it's like it's two things. I'm gonna just mind my business and be out the way, or we gonna bump heads every day.
Right. Because I'm going to
So-
say it, like, that's one thing I know about, like, my really good friends, like, the dudes who I grew up with. Like, it's rare that you find people who still kick it with their day ones. Like, my
Very
day
rare.
ones, man, I love them, like my brothers. But I understand, too, though, when we amongst each other and we get to talking and I get to, like, calling out that BS, it's like, man, there he go with that. It's like, it's just where I'm at with it now, and I try my best to be as real as possible, because, I don't try to speak my truth. And I'm not about to let you tell me your truth because there's only one truth.
There's only one truth.
You know, so to each his own, man. Like I'm just every day, man. I just pray. Like, you know, this is my prayer every day when I wake up. I don't ask God for anything but my portion.
Mm-hmm.
Just my portion for the day. Just enough to wake up in the morning, take care of the business that God put in front of me, and have the strength to be able to make it home and then be there for my wife and my kids. And if he can grant me that every day, man, he granted me more than enough. He granted me more than enough because I used to want, like, all these other stuff of the world, man.
Yeah.
Like, and then when I realized, it's like, the closer I started getting to a lot of that stuff, the more I realized it wasn't making me happy. It wasn't doing it.
But I want to say, and I'm glad that you said that, because what happened, like my moment was, I love shoes, and I started just buying shoes, and I would go through them, I would buy them, and not even wear them.
Yeah.
And they would just start collecting, and I started to look, and I said, God, I'm buying these things, but for what? What is my legacy? And God said, you fighting so hard to buy these things or whatever that you feel that you need, and you're not even wearing them.
Yeah.
Man, I stay in the same shoes to affect, like, my wife, like, people gonna think you don't have no shoes, you don't have,
shoes,
and
no
I stay in the
clothes.
same
My
ones,
wife
and I told her, I say, you know, what I realized, and I think different, and I said, because I want to leave something behind when it's all said and done to impact people. When it's all said and done and God called me home, because I've been telling God, I said, God, don't take me until I ran this journey that you need me to run. Like, don't take me until I've told everybody how good you are. I've led people. I've fellowship with people, and I grew. I say, because at the end of the day, I do want them to say I'm a good father, but I want them to say this man was a true man of God.
Right.
And when I started looking at all them things, and I was like, I ain't buying that no more. I'm cool on it because it doesn't do anything for me, but it's like a little trophy.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it when I was a kid, so I got it now.
Got it when you got it.
And then I'm over it. And I started to look, I'm like, I got about 10 pairs of shoes that I never put my foot in. And I'm like, I'm not feeding into nobody.
Right.
Just staying in my little box. And I started to think to myself, like, long as I'm not affecting the world in a negative way, I'm good.
Yeah.
And that's when that's why I messed up it.
Right.
And that's when God started convicting me, like, you're not feeding into nobody. Like, even the knowledge you get, he's like, you getting it for yourself, but you're not pouring, like, you're not nobody else. And man, when I start thinking, I see, I'm not as good person as I thought I was.
Right. And that's the humbling thing. That's the humbling thing. Especially like when man tell you all the time how great you are. And then when God come in, man, and he make that move in your life, and it's like, man, you ain't who you thought you was. Like, finding out I ain't the husband that I thought I was. Finding out I ain't the dad. Like, you know, you hear so many people, like my mom and them always telling me, like, how great of a man I am. And then it's like, that tends to wait, like, oh, man, great dad. Like, you imagine me talking to my wife when she mad at me and go, man, you would be lucky to have a husband like me. I don't cheat. I don't do this. I don't do that. I'm coming home with the money. Like, imagine how your wife looking at you like, who you think you is? But imagine how God looking at you in that same breath like, who you think you is?
And that's what he did to me. That's what he did to me, man. Me, like I said, just thinking certain things, and that's what God did to me. And when he started convicting me, I started looking at myself in the mirror like, you don't even know who you are.
Right.
Because like you say, certain people telling you certain things and you thinking, like, man, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. And then when you get down to, when God starts stripping me and I start looking, I'm like, I'm really not the husband and the father, because, man, I missed
the mark.
I miss it, man. I would used to, and I told him, I said, and that's kind of why I had to scale back too, because, man, I would be doing my regular customers, and then I would run and try to go to every game and be here and be there. And my wife said, just stop for a second. She said, you're not understanding why your girls are asking for your time.
Yeah.
because they not getting it. And I'm just thinking I'm being a good father because they seeing me every day and I'm coming home, whatever. But she was like, "Dude, you spending half of your day in your office doing pictures or whatever." And I'm like, ooh. God told me up, man. I dang near cried in the bathroom because I'm like, the father I always wanted to be.
You just ran from him.
I moved
You
away
find
from.
ourselves like, man, what verses that I find myself doing the things that I should not do, but the things I should do, I'm far away from. Man, I'm messing that up. But
I know.
you know, but that's just, you know, and it's like if you can't accept healing, you'll never understand that you're not as good as you think you are. Like, and so like once you can actually heal, that's when you can actually help others. Because it's like then you start to understand you are imperfect. Once you understand you are imperfect, then you take them goggles off of seeing other people's flaws and judging them for their flaws. So it's like people always tell me, "Man, why you spend so much time with this kid?" Like I don't know. Can I say names or?
Yeah, you can.
All right, there's one kid, man, that just glare out to me, man, since I've been to Jennings that, like, I always wished I could have saved Didi Demarion's.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
Man, at the time when I was dealing with Demarion, man, I still had the specs of the world on, so I'm trying to hold this kid to a standard, hold him to a standard, and I'm pushing him, and I'm doing a great job with him, but at the same time, I'm missing a mark on him every day. And now that I'm actually tethered to God, I can actually see now where I missed the mark at with him. And it's like, yeah, you being a great person to him. Yeah, you feeding him and you making sure he got a ride. You keeping him accountable and you doing all of these things right here. But you ain't introducing him to God. You ain't pouring into his life with something gonna make it everlasting. Like you putting a Band-Aid over a bleeding wound. You know, and say like, so I always wish, man, that I could go back and right my wrongs with that kid. Cause it's like, man, I really missed the mark because I thought I was this great guy and I thought I was doing this the right way. And in reality, all I was doing was just patching a Band-Aid over the wound instead of really just getting down, like stripping that thing off and getting down into that cut and actually figuring it out, like how we heal this thing. And I can't do it. I ain't strong enough to do it. I don't possess the power that's strong enough to fix him. What I would have needed to fix him was more grace, more God, you know? And so like, and I love that kid, man. Like to this day, man, this kid still talk. And he came in the gym the other day and, man, when I seen him, it's just like, it just
did something to you. Huh?
Yeah, it's like God affirmed everything he's been fixing in me, man. Cause he's still living, bro. And me and him know that this story could have went so many ways. And he's away from here now and he's doing better, I assume and I hope. And he just, because I was like, I'm gonna tell you, like, to kind of add a little more to that story, I was asking God, like, man, am I doing this the right way? And it was ironic that out of nowhere, this kid just texted me. And I just instantly started flooding him with, like, scripture and word. Because, like, now I'm actually starting to transform in myself. Like, now I know really what to give him. And, and he telling me stuff like, man, you awesome person and all this stuff like that. And it's like, it was good through text, but to see him
hit different.
And like, man, me and him never had to say another word, but just to see him right there in that moment, man, that was like, thank you, Father, because he's still here and he still love me. Like, he still know what I did for him meant something.
Man, that's one of the ones, and we gon' end it there, man. Yeah. But Coach is definitely coming back
Yeah, most definitely. I had fun.
Yeah, man, it's amazing.
This was
I mean, I
cool,
feel
man.
like we could go for another 2-3 hours,
Man,
but I know.
forever. Like, I still like, man, this is crazy. Like, I didn't even know what to expect, man, and I appreciate this.
Man, I appreciate you coming, man, and it's a true blessing because I always had you on my mind to come, but I was like, trust God's timing. I ain't like this is nothing but God's timing, man. But yeah, because
I know that like when we first met, I wasn't close to being
where
this
you at
yet.
now.
Like I was starting to become that person. Like when I got hired on at Jennings, I had just me and my wife had just started committing back to going back to church on a regular, and you know, I was a process. Who I am today
wasn't the same back then.
Nah.
And I love it, man. And that's why I say you definitely coming back because the purpose of this is we got to get them.
Right.
You know, and young, old, we got to get them because there's no age on when God calls you.
Right. Nah.
So we own it, man. So
faster and faster now, man.
Faster and faster. So you definitely coming back. It's gonna be multiple episodes with you,
Okay,
man.
let's do it, man.
Because I just know when God bring them in, I just know. You know, and with you, I just know.
Right.
Like just what a conversation went. I already know. Yeah.
Hey, which this the camera?
Yeah, that's you right there.
We did not plan anything. Like, man, it was just a conversation that we had doing a picture shoot. And he said, man, let's get together. And I just texted him. God put it on my heart and said, hey, man, what's up? And he said, come in on Sunday. Why not? You know.
And I know it's nobody but God because I got my days mixed up.
Yeah.
I did a podcast. Just me and my wife did one yesterday, which I thought was today, and I got it mixed up. But I ended up making it happen or whatever. And I'm glad that it went that way because we are able to sit as long as we did.
Right. We just talking.
Yeah, we just talking. And I'm glad that one was yesterday and this one was today. And I'm glad we was able just to sit and talk and do this the way I love the way God does things, man.
Oh man, when he in the mix, I'm saying, man, and I wish people really knew that when he is in the mix of things, man, it just like I don't know what this conversation gonna come off to anybody, but to me, sitting here talking with you, man, it just felt so right.
Felt good. It did.
Like it felt like somebody gonna hear something in this and you know, and get something out of it.
Whatever God placed on our heart, we just gonna roll with it.
He put a lot of stuff on my heart every day, bro.
So I know when we come back, it's gonna be more stuff to talk about because I know there's plenty more that we left on the table. But
I can stay here all day and do this.
But I thank you for coming, Coach, man. I'm gonna sign this out, man. This is the Godly Vibe Podcast. I'm with Coach Loss, and we out.